What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us anywhere and everywhere at My Cowboys Family, and of course, hop in the Discord. Link for that's in the description box down below.
Yeah, guys, we got to recap this one. It's a quick turnaround. So, we'll get the Giants here in 2 days, less than 2 days now. The Giants come to town. So, yes, we'll do our best to keep this concise as possible and get through some of the important things that maybe you guys that fell through the cracks out there in the YouTube and the mainstream media world. And we'll discuss our Dallas Cowboys here. Some unfortunate situations with the Baltimore Ravens. And hopefully better times in New York this Thursday night. So as we get ready for the recap of the Baltimore game and the preview, a quick preview of the Giants, we're going to do more of a breakdown of the matchups and keys to victory pregame on Thursday night. So we'll go live a little earlier than we usually do for a game and get some of this information and thoughts out there about, our bowl predictions, our score predictions, and, of course, matchups and keys to victory. That'll be on Thursday. But today, give you some quick look at what, some things you could look forward to maybe seeing and hearing being talked about on Thursday pregame and what's going to be very important for this Thursday night game against the Giants, division rival New York, the Giants. Anyways, as we roll into this, baby, we got to start off with those that make the world go around here on the My Cowboys Family side of things. And that's the person that took over the sponsor of the week. Last week we had a first-timer in the sense of
first time representing on the board.
Well, as a sponsor of the week,
yeah.
I know Chip Hill did it during our off season, but the first time she did it in our regular season, and the first time she represented the membership gifting board as well. But this time we have another, and this is a true number one first time, John Luna, the sponsor of the week. Big shout outs to him, the love and the support to the channel. Appreciate you and your thoughts of our channel. Even if Cowboys aren't, your number one team there, we appreciate you showing the love here and the support and the back and forth in the chat. So thank you, John Luna, our sponsor of the week. He's also, that's his first time as a sponsor of the week. He's also in the star level, but he's also the membership gifting champion. So big double shout out, big firsts for John Luna, who's in the chat right now. We also have Jet Li, who's no stranger here, back to back like our 90s Cowboys, as our Cash App King. Big shout out to Jet Li. Thank you. He took it. I think he took it down with like $7+ last week. Yeah. So that's all it took to get the crown. Big shout out to Jet Li 44 and Marco Sepian, all the way from Hawaii. Much love to him. He's got 38 points, hanging on to that stream boss. So when you look at this week, I know we have a brand new week, and there is currently not, at least at this current second, there is no Cash App leader. So that's empty. And you see the gifting board is, of course, also empty. Mark still holding down with 38 points in the stream bus. So you can see there is a leaderboard, though, and that is Jet Li 44. I'm pretty sure it hit today, his star level membership. You got the Q man, Justin Quarles. His silver level dropped today. You also got, I think earlier in the week, William Burney and his Navy Blue crew, JD from DC in the Navy Blue as well. And today also Indian Boogie with his Navy Blue membership. So you see the leaderboard up there, and hey, we got top 5 already set up there with a bunch of ties. So big shout out to everybody representing these boards and to those that will be representing the boards and trying to take the crowns from the people holding it down right now. Also, as you guys know, there is a different levels here in the membership. And there's different ways of dropping the love here. Right. There's some ways on YouTube, which is a super chats, of course, is still available here on our screen in the bottom right of your chat. There's also the thanks button where you can give love, show love that way through a video that's already been uploaded or video live stream done.
Thanks button, yeah.
Yes, that's the thanks button. And then you have the gifting. You have the membership side, like I just shouted out: William Burney, JD, Jet Li, Justin Quarles, and Indian Boogie, who have all stayed or rejoined or jumped into the membership side. That's another way of showing the love here. And gifting memberships. You can only do that once you're in the membership. Once you're in the membership, you can gift memberships to randomly to people in the chat that maybe don't have a Navy Blue trial run. So you give them a chance to see what they can do and drop those emojis if you got them, because the new ones are out. Fuck the Giants. I already got past the 15-minute mark, I think. F the Giants. And there's a whole bunch of different ones you can enjoy throwing down, like the Giants and the Tinies and the I don't know. I guess the human centipede giant. I don't know. Anyways, either way, there's a lot of those if you're in the navy blue or any of our membership levels. But then you also have 4 ways you could drop the love that's outside of YouTube. Well, let's start off with inside of YouTube and a takeover, because 38 points was what Marco Seppian had on the stream boss. But now he's been taken down because John Luna has taken over with a Lipke drop, a Hunter Lipke, $40 holler.
Woo!
And now we got ourselves a new overall leader for this week. He may try to go back-to-back like our Dallas Cowboys of the 90s. What did John Luna have to say with his $40 bomb to kick things off this week?
Can't stay long. Just wanted to show some support. Y'all are so welcome. I have to say, y'all are the best. I enjoy y'all's channel and so glad I can support.
Hey, man, nothing greater than fans, whether you're from all over that love what we do here. We do give our passion and do, give our blood, sweat, and tears to this channel. So we truly appreciate when you guys are able to support, whether it's in a membership, gifting, or dropping the love like right there. Big shout outs to John Luna, who immediately, Jet Li, one of our legends here. Jet Li, though, goes into second place because John Luna now represents the first place spot on the overall board. Basically, Jet Li's 16 back on first place. So big shout out to John Luna. Appreciate your words and appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
And of course, perfect timing here as well, because you saw
the different ways of dropping
thanks
the love,
button. Yeah. Flexed live and in action there. Yeah, Mr. MCF touched on a few different.
That was a super chat. The super chat drop there.
Oh, true. Thanks. I know it's thanks button.
Yeah, the thanks button, the membership, the gifting member. There's different ways through YouTube, but there's 4 ways outside of YouTube.
Yeah.
Pick up where we left off. What are those 4 ways, baby?
You have, of course, the Cash App, money sign MyCowboysFamily, the Venmo at my-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and last but not least, the Streamlabs link that lets your comment show up on screen just like a super chat.
That's right. So there's a lot of different ways to drop the love here. That's usually the After Dark family portion that dropped that way. But hey, if you drop it on here that way, there's tiebreakers. There's a lot of ways that is an added benefit, as well as being the king of the Cash App. You're getting shout outs here, even if you're not part of what we called our top shelf membership crew there. We got the navy blue and the silver level 2 on Fridays. We'll give the special shout outs on Fridays. This week, I guess, will be on the game day Thursday night. We'll do the silver level. But every day we do the star and over everything top shelf membership shout outs, which are one of the major perks. But one of the other perks is for the star and over everything level, you get 1 raffle entry every month if you're in the star level, and 2 if you're in the over everything level, for our monthly jersey raffle. Sewn and stitched jerseys, all teams, even all major sports, and any player available, we can get to you. But Cowboys, we got a whole bunch of them to choose from. Yeah. So from new and old, different sizes, shapes, men, women, children, jerseys, all kinds there. And the weekly winner, let me add to John Luna's drop, because he is our sponsor of the week, and that's an example. Last week it was Chill Pill. She gets a weekly winner, a bonus entry. Now, Chill Pill is also in the over everything. John Luna's in the star level, so they're adding their chances to win one of these.
Stacking them.
Stacking the opportunities to win one of these sewn and stitched jerseys right here from your husband-wife duo here at MCF, My Cowboys Family. So big shout-outs to everybody in these levels, and let's give those nightly shout-outs to the star and over everything levels, baby.
Thank you very much to Skeptical Fan, Jet Li 44, LC, John Luna, and of course, Chill Pill.
Over everything, right?
Woo.
Hell yeah. So big shout outs to all you guys there. Right now you got a 1 out of 5 chance to win a jersey, and people like Chill Pill, who's got 2 plus a bonus raffle entry. John Luna, who's got 1 plus a bonus raffle. You can see it out of 5, their chances just went up a lot more, especially Chill Pill and John Luna's. So, hey, just an example how we do the thing here. Have a little fun, give back to the family. Appreciate all you guys for everything you do on all levels. Drop those emojis. You see them right there. The wife dropped them. The anti-giant emojis. The trash. New York trash. Anyways, as we get it rolling, baby, before we get it going, who's in the house to discuss our Cowboys tonight? My Cowboys Family.
We have James Herr.
Yeah.
Hello and hi. The Man Frame Rippers,
hey, Voodoo.
a.k.a. Voodoo Alpha, yes, much love. Of course, John Luna representing it here.
Yeah.
Aztec Aguilar 04, what's up with you? We have Way Up, dude. wrong
after dark side of things. Yeah.
A big mahalo to Marco Seppi, and aloha to you and yours.
Big shout out to Mark, the man. Hey, listen, he had that stream boss for about a month. So John Luna take it over, but big shout outs to the man Marco Sepin, who's repping that star for everything.
We have Matt Batten in the house here as well. What's up? Manuel Trillo, hello and hi. Let me see. Big D, dropping the emojis.
In the place to be.
Yeah, Double R representing. What's up? Matt Persico. Thanks for joining us here. House Nelson in the house. Godless Manitoban.
Hey, Godless.
Thank you for the shout-outs. Always appreciated.
Thank you guys for stopping by here. The After Dark crew making a quick run through and then, hey, pass by. It's all good. We might have an After Dark tonight, so stay tuned for that. But right now, it's about that star over everything, and that's what we're going to discuss. So, ready to roll, baby?
Yeah.
Let's go. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. It was not a very good game here a couple days ago for our Cowboys in the Baltimore Raven game. Actually, let me see if I can fix this. Give me 1 second. It's really weird.
So, yeah, no, real quick. So, and by the way, thank you, Frame Rippers. There it is. Sorry, I was literally just waiting for it because I just saw it there. But a big mahalo to the man Mark Hovsepian, who's also dropping the love here tonight with a $5 holler.
Woo! He got that 5 on it, and he's chipping away back at that stream boss. What did the man Mark Hovsepian have to say about this?
My prediction: Dak will kill the Giants. Zeke will have a few good runs, and some delusional fans will say, "We are back." Never mind that New York sucks, as does Jerry Jones.
Where MCF
and actually, Mr. Mark, I shouted you out at least 2 or 3 times towards the end of that game.
Yeah.
Yesterday, my goodness. It's Tuesday. The day before yesterday, obviously, on Sunday when we were live and stuff like that. Just because, again, one of the things that we kind of kept circling back on that I know I touched on is we need to actually beat the good teams. And the Ravens, while certainly not a good team
by record
or potential expectation, we should say, like, they still have one of the better defense. Like, they're not
I'm gonna tell you, they're gonna make the playoffs. I'm gonna tell you that they're a playoff team. They're a good team. So yes, their record is not great, but they're obviously 10 times better than the Giants. And we were at home against them, against the Saints, who were not expected to be great.
Yep.
With the Packers, we were supposed to beat. 3 losses at home, all allowing shitloads of points and an embarrassment each and every one of those games. And you can blame it on the players, the coaches, and the clown show is where the shit starts to trickle from. So we'll get there in a minute, I'm sure.
And honestly, the way that we're playing right now, beating the Giants, I don't know about that one. Because we are playing down to their level, and then some.
I understand what he's saying, though. Because this is what happens.
Oh, yeah.
This is what always happens. We play horribly against the better teams, then play against a team like the Giants, and everyone goes crazy, goes, oh, look how good we are now. We just crushed the Giants.
Exactly.
Which, again, like I agree with what you're saying, though.
The same way that, we're not necessarily going to... We crushed the Browns.
Well, again, we didn't know if the Browns are going to be great. The Browns lose to the Giants. So we start to see the true colors emerging about our opponents that we've been playing or will play. Now, I personally believe that the Saints are pretty good. I don't think they're that special. The Eagles got lucky to get by them, but they didn't play well either. The Eagles ain't that good. So, I mean, for us to hang with, we're as good as these other teams, and we're supposedly supposed to be at least as good as these teams, and we came and hang with the Saints or the Ravens in Dallas. There's no excuse for this. There's no way of saying, I don't know if the Cowboys will they will do better against the Giants, but there's no guarantee they'll beat the Giants. Just letting you know. Now, we do own the Giants, but those things eventually wear off, right?
Yeah.
Those things eventually go away. And the Giants, they feel like they're in this thing. They could send us to the bottom of the division by ourselves at 1-3. The loser of this game is at the bottom of the division. Forget about winning the division or making the playoffs. The loser is at the bottom of the division no matter what, even if the Eagles and the Washington Commanders lose. Think about that. So we're playing for the trash bowl here right now, the bottom bowl. I hear you, Marco Scipion. Trust me, I hear you. Now, I want to get going with this stuff because if not, we got to cover a quick recap, and a quick preview in between a lot of discussion with you guys. So
with this short turnaround week, obviously we have a few more things to touch on here. So
let's get rolling. Because we got NFL news real quickly, baby. I know you actually said this to me earlier about when we talked about it behind the scenes, but Brett Favre, he announced amongst other things, that, quote, as you know, I was recently diagnosed with Parkinson's, which has been an ordeal. My wife, family, and friends have been supportive, and I want to thank them for being there for me. To my fans and those wishing well, thank you for all the love. Now, even though, I do feel poorly for him. I do feel bad that he has died.
I wish that is something like that upon anyone, of course.
But what do you think? You kind of give me maybe, this whole thing going on around his legal situation.
Yeah, really interesting how this diagnosis comes out, the day that he is, speaking to that. Because remember, he was brought in for question. I don't know if it was questioning necessarily, but the point is that they were asking him more about that whole thing
his
where
scam,
he stole millions of dollars, to fund his own thing from the Mississippi welfare program and stuff like that. So as they're continuing their investigation with that, he drops the bomb of his diagnosis. And again, like we said,
you can't
feel
predict
for him and his family. No one should have to go through that. But
you can't pick and choose when it happens. But.
But let's be real. This is him trying to gain sympathy and avoid responsibility for the fuck up that he created. So it's hard for me to feel too much sympathy, considering he had no sympathy for the poor people that he stole money from.
Yeah. I hear you, baby. Trust me, I hear you. So that's that story about Brett Favre. You got the Chargers. A couple things on them. Their superstar safety, Derwin James Jr., has been suspended without pay for one game for repeated violations of playing rules intended to protect the health and safety of players. And it happened this last weekend's game, the Chargers at the Steelers. He was kind of headhunting a little bit in the video clip, and he appealed it. And he lost this evening. I don't have like the news article on this or anything, but he did lose that appeal. So he will have to play. And it was Derek Brooks and others that were the NFL player representatives, and they said no, you have no grounds to win this appeal. So he will miss one game for the safeties, the Derwin James Jr. Now, more bad news for the Chargers. Their rookie first round pick, Joe Alt, got injured. He injured his MCL. The good news, very good news, comes out from this. It's kind of like the Ferguson situation in many ways, where he sprained his MCL during that loss in Pittsburgh.
So it could have been season ending.
Correct.
Instead, it's just temporary.
So they said right now that he's out for this game. It sounds like against the Chiefs, and then the Chargers go on a bye week. So they have at least 2 weeks with him being, and that's what we had for Ferguson. So you figure Joe Alt probably be all right. Good for him. He's going to be back for the Chiefs probably after their bye. And then more news, more important to the NFC side, the Detroit Lions Pro Bowl and All-Pro center Frank Ragnow suffered a partially torn pectoral muscle. We know how bad those can be. Those will knock you out for the year sometimes. But it makes him only week to week. It's partially torn. It is one of the toughest players in the league is Frank Ragnow, but as a reality, he injured it very early in the game and played through it. But the belief is that it's not going to be season-ending, and he could be back sooner than later. So even if it's going to be week to week, we got to remember, guys, week to week, we're close to having to maybe play a Frank Ragnow or not, possibly, right? Because in a couple of weeks, we play the Detroit Lions. So you can see there, Giants is Thursday, Steelers, and then the Lions. So Frank Ragnow, someone to look at to see if he's going to be back for that game against us. Didn't stop there with them. This guy was going to definitely miss the game against us for the Lions. Their pass rusher, Marcus Davenport, formerly of the Saints and a couple other teams, he suffered what appeared to be a serious and significant elbow injury in Sunday's game.
Ouch.
He put a sleeve on it, tried to come back in the game. They didn't let him get back in, and he underwent more testing. And today we found out that it was confirmed by Coach Dan Campbell from the Lions that it is a season-ending injury for Marcus Davenport, their starting pass rusher. So that's a big blow to the Lions.
Unfortunate.
Or their second pass. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson is the number one guy, but Davenport's on the other side. Blow to them as one of their defensive edge rushers go down for the year. Now we got to shout out the man Indian Boogie, who's fresh and clean right back into that navy blue crew. What did he have to say with his monthly message?
Yeah,
baby?
20 months of membership.
Hell yeah.
He said, "Fan for life."
Oh, appreciate you, man.
MCF, go Cowboys.
And,
always.
Big shout outs to Indian Boogie. Takes John Luna to 94. Rookie Marshawn Nealon points. But you know what else? The Indian Boogie, he's always in fan for life, and he's also been get one of our I'd say top 5 gifters on here.
Yeah.
So big shout outs to Mr. Indian Boogie as well. on that side of things for his historic drops on that. So thank you on that side. Thank you guys. Now
Frank Moyer, hello and hi, long
Frank
time
in the
no
house.
see.
Yeah, Frank Moyer in the house.
Yeah, Karam Mawani, Roy Strassner, what's up?
Yeah, Roy Strassner representing it. Thank you.
Get back to you.
Yeah. So as I'm finishing up the NFL news. So we're talking about injuries. These are some of the best teams, right, that we're supposed to be competing with. And the Lions are injured, getting guys injured. The Niners are missing half their team. And you know what happened? They lost some more guys, unfortunately for them. Defensive tackle is Javon Hargrave, which is a very good interior defensive lineman, partially torn tricep.
Ooh.
Kyle Shanahan said he's going to miss the regular season. It was initially supposedly a bruise, but they found after imaging that he tore his tricep.
Basically the opposite of the ankle injuries that we just talked about, where, oh my God, are these season ending? And thank goodness they're not. And this one, oh man, it just looks like a bruise. And oh, by the way, it's actually
out
season
for
ending.
the regular season. They're saying for Javon Hargrave, who again is what makes their defense fantastic. Another piece, a cog in that defense. Now, another guy that's hurt for the Niners. We know about McCaffrey. We know about Deebo Samuel, and now Kittle. Mm-hmm. These guys are missing games, right? Brock Purdy.
Oh.
He has back soreness now. MRI was done. It was clean, but he's listed as day-to-day. So the Niners are in shambles. They're 1-2, like us. I mean, we just don't have the injuries. They do. At least they got excuses. And by the way, we just finished getting whipped up by even though it's a 3-point game, we got whipped up by the Ravens. They added some pass rushing help. While we were losing guys, they're adding guys. The Ravens bringing back the defensive edge rusher who's a free agent, Yannick Ngakoue. Last time he played was in Baltimore in 2020. I'm sorry, the last time he played in Baltimore was in 2020. He's 29 years old. He ain't that old yet. And he has 69 career sacks, but the word is he was asking for a lot for unknown production at this point in his career. And he's been a free agent, not anymore. Now he's back with the Ravens after, back since he was made his rounds around the different teams, and now back to them since 2020. He left them. This is one that kind of relates to the Cowboys, believe it or not, in the running back side of things, even though it's not the Cowboys. Steelers running back Najee Harris, guys, after the game against the Chargers, had a sling on his right arm in the locker room yesterday. So now we're seeing like their running back Jaylen Warren also getting an MRI on his knee from the Steelers. So the Steelers just had one of their depth running backs, rotation running backs, Jaylen Warren, getting an MRI on his knee. He's banged up a bit. And then we're seeing Najee Harris, their starting, I wouldn't say star, but he is their starting star running back, I guess, with a sling in his arm in the locker room yesterday. So Steelers need a running back. What do you usually do? You going to go sign someone, or do you start to scour the practice squads of different teams that aren't maybe have running backs on their squads that maybe are not being used? Like, I was
going to say, isn't there a team that we know that has a running back on their practice squad
that's not being used? That's been a starter in multiple places.
That could be a possible hot commodity for a team looking for a running back.
Yeah, anybody can be plucked off a practice squad as long as they're put onto the team's 53-man roster. And you guys know who I'm talking about. Be careful. Steelers, we get them in a couple of weeks here, right? After the Giants, we get a 10-day break, a mini bye. And then we got the Steelers. They might try to use Dalvin Cook against us. How you guys feel about them apples? I don't know. I'm not. Cowboys got to be careful. Better make some moves here. McCarthy touched on this, but let's be real. I cannot give a reason why he should not be given a chance. And obviously, the Cowboys front office, Jerry Jones and crew, don't give a shit. They obviously don't care. They make the calls there, not the coaches. The front office makes the call when Dalvin Cook comes on. Dalvin Cook gets a chance to play as a Cowboy running back. He may never even see the field. Because the Steelers may be eyeballing our practice squad for a running back named Dalvin Cook right now. So keep that in mind. That would be something else, huh? If he gets taken off our roster and in basically 2 weeks gets to play against our team, that'd be something. And it'd almost feel like a lesser version of a Derrick Henry, but more of a slap in the face. Anyways, we'll talk about our game in a minute, but there were two other games that were played on Monday night here. It was a doubleheader Monday Night Football. Josh Allen from the Bills threw 4 touchdown passes. The Bills just tore apart the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are trash right now, even though they paid Trevor Lawrence $55 million. No one really talks about that. Anyways, Josh Allen, threw 4 touchdown passes in the first half. The Bills scored in each of their first 5 drives, and they destroyed the Jacksonville Jaguars 47-10. Trevor Lawrence was misfiring the entire game, and the Jacksonville Jaguars just unraveled, got whipped. Not that we never got whipped. We got whipped last week badly. This week we were whipped until fourth quarter, little mini comeback. Oh, yay. Josh Allen went 22 for 28 for 247 in the first 30 minutes of that game, in the first half of that game. He had completions to 9 receivers. He only attempted 2 passes after halftime. That's how much of a blowout it was. And he finished 23 of 30 with 263 before Trubisky came in and replaced him. He spread the wealth to many different options. Dalton Kincaid, he was a guy the Cowboys liked, tight end. Keon Coleman, who practiced with CeeDee Lamb. Khalil Shakir, Ty Johnson, and others. James Cook opened the scoring with a 6-yard touchdown run. Oh, yeah. You guys know who James Cook is, right? A guy I said we should bring in here to the Cowboys. Now he's tearing shit up with Buffalo. But I said we should bring him in here in the offseason. He was like, what, $3.5, $4 million? No, we got his older brother, Dalvin Cook, who doesn't have much gas in the tank, it sounds like. But James Cook, he's tearing shit up. A guy I said we should bring into this running back room. One of the top guys on my list, may I add. Anyways, the Jaguars, they opened 0-3 now. Last time they did that was in 2021 under Urban Meyer, who was fired before the end of the season. We'll see how Doug, what's his name, the former Eagle guy, Eagle coach, Doug Peterson. We'll see how long he hangs on there in Jacksonville.
I almost said Nussmeier. I'm like,
no. The second game was a game of the NFC East, which involved the Washington Commanders versus Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And man, what an upset that was. It was a high-scoring battle. Not really expected the Washington Commanders to actually kind of control that game, but they did. And Jaden Daniels, coming out party for him, rookie. He is now, rookie first-round pick, early round pick for Washington. He's their future quarterback. And, he's their future, right? At quarterback, he had and I watched that game. He had a great game last night. Accounted for 3 total touchdowns. The first 2 touchdown passes of his career. First one was to an offensive lineman, by the way. And he basically led the Commanders past the Bengals 38-26 last night in the second doubleheader of Monday Night Football. With that loss, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, like the Jaguars, go to 0-3. Wow. So, pretty bad there. By the way, the highest completion percentage in a single game by a rookie in NFL history with a minimum of 20 attempts. Gardner Minshew, 88% in 2019. In 2016, Dak Prescott. Yeah, he had the record, 2016, 88.9%. Jaden Daniels broke that record last night. 91.3 completion percentage. I mean, that is a crazy number, great number for him. And he had to throw it over 20 times, so it wasn't just dump-offs here. It wasn't just, not dump-offs, it wasn't just, I saw him hit some deep plays, some deep passes, perfect on-target hits. So Jaden Daniels earned that 91.3 completion percentage, and that is the highest in Commanders franchise history, but that is the highest, that's just for any quarterback for them. They never had a quarterback complete that many passes in a game in their history for the Commanders. But in NFL history, for a rookie quarterback, that's the highest it has ever been. And he beat Dak Prescott's numbers. Just letting you know. Now, we look at our NFC East standings. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders are both tied at 2-1. And then the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants are tied at 1-2. 1 game back on both of those teams. So now we're going to start seeing some interdivision play here. And we also have the power ranking sections. Comes out every Tuesday. And what do we always say about the power rankings?
Fuck the power rankings.
Fuck the power rankings. Because it's just the only power ranking that matters is who wins the Super Bowl. Now, last week, the Cowboys are ranked 8th, 11th on NFL.com, 14th on ESPN, USA Today at 18th, Yahoo at 6th. All these, we fell some after the Saints.
Yeah.
Well, on Blogging the Boys, we were 8th. Now we went to 19th. NFL.com 11th, we dropped to 17th. ESPN 14th to 16th. USA Today put us from 18th to 21st in the league. We were in 6th in Yahoo for some reason. They dropped us to 15th now, which, by the way, that was our highest ranking. CBS Sports had us at 13, dropped us to 16. Athletic 13 to 16, and Sports Illustrated put us at 17, dropped us to the lowest of all, 22nd in the NFL right now. That's an 11th or 12th. That's an 11th draft pick right there. So 33rd team, they also put us at 17th. So just a nightmare of a 3-game season so far. Of course, we know it's more than a 3-game season. But just so you guys know in context here, since the year 2000, the Cowboys have started 1-2 or worse, meaning 0-3, 6 times and only made the playoffs once. So when we start off 1-2 or 0-3, we've made the playoff one time, and that was in 2018. Do you remember who turned that around that year? Remember, as a receiver by committee, we brought in Amari Cooper. A lot of people are saying we should bring Amari Cooper in.
I was going to say, a little ironic considering that after week 1, there was a lot of revisiting the Amari Cooper topic just in a general sense. And this was, remember, before the team looked as bad as it did. This was when we were all on cloud 9, thinking our team's about to rocket out the rest of the season. So just saying that, I think it's a valid point to bring up, especially with the CeeDee Lamb signing. I think it's even more relevant when you look at, here's our former number 1 receiver. Here's our current number 1 receiver. And just thinking about everything.
Well,
in a perfect world, we'd somehow have CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper on the same team. But that's,
I wanted to add to that, no matter what the draft pick may cost us, you got to remember his contract is fully guaranteed this year. Or I think whatever he's getting paid this year is fully guaranteed. There's no way the Cowboys are trading for him. No. In my opinion, it just costs too much for us to have to pay his contract this season.
Not even that, but it sounds like whatever the thing that made us move on from Amari Cooper, because there are multiple factors. But
vaccine?
I just think that he did not get along with our front office.
Yeah, well, I agree.
That's probably the easiest
Best way of saying it. Either way, we're not going to get Amari Cooper back. The point is there another trade that sparked something this year? Because we're seeing the path we're going down here. That was 2018 when we actually made the playoffs that year. We went on a 5-game winning streak. I remember that, and that's when really the truth came out about the Lenahan play calling. But that's the only time since the year 2000 that we started off 0-3 or 1-2 and made the playoffs. The only time. We need to change this year to make the playoffs, or else we ain't making the playoffs. I told you guys this. Several Cowboys, I'm going to remind you guys, last week during our discussions, and you talked about some of the quotes and interviews that the players had, that the players mentioned not practicing very well last week. They also mentioned it after this game, like as an excuse. I'm just saying, practice better. I don't know what to say, but they just didn't practice well last week, it sounds like, as a whole.
It does feel like it sounds like excuses, well, of course we played so shitty this game. We had real shitty practices all week. Our practices sucked. So your practices suck and you just didn't think that was an issue or a problem or a
Where does
concern,
that go to, though?
You know what I mean? Obviously,
that
I'm
goes
not
to the
saying
coaches,
they need
right?
to necessarily advertise that, because the last thing you want is your coach saying, yeah, we had a real shitty practice today. No, maybe don't say that. So
it sounded like an excuse, and
it does feel excuse-ish.
That at least now when you look back, maybe it looked like they were preparing to lose. I don't know. Look, the point is, a lot of Cowboy players had mentioned not having a good practice last week. Now, I do want to say Bill Belichick on the Pat McAfee show had a comment about the Cowboys' issues and that he believes they're fixable, which always lets me think, he wants that head coaching job from the Cowboys there. I mean, if the Cowboys do a midseason firing of McCarthy, do not be surprised if Belichick is the man waiting. Belichick said this in the Pat McAfee show, quote, "This is the same thing they ran into last season. Look, the draft is over. Free agency is over. I wouldn't expect a lot of big trades here. I think there's enough talent in Dallas to get things straightened out, but they got to look in the mirror and look each other in the eye and say we're going to do it." End quote. So I think we need Belichick over there to tell them to do that. It seems like. But either way, Belichick is...
And Belichick calls out the problem without necessarily saying it outright, because he said it. He's like, well, free agency's done. It's not like you're going to make some big trade or big moves, so you're going to have to get it done with who you have. But already, again, without having to outright say our off season and our front office is part of the problem why we're here, because we didn't make the moves that we needed to make, and now we're stuck with this team. We got to make the best of it with this team. Belichick basically is just saying, this team can get it done.
Yeah, they have the talent. That tells me that, he knows there's talent in this team, and I think he wants to be... kind of maybe put his hands on this talent.
If you guys remember the movie Holes, for those of you guys, he's like, I can fix that. And I know Mr. MCF maybe doesn't get the reference, but basically it's kind of a well-known line there. The guy, a handyman, ends up being very handy indeed.
I don't know. This sounds like a different kind of movie. Anyways,
I can fix that.
Listen, I don't know if anyone can fix our. I don't know if our Cowboys can be fixed. I'll say this: when you look at this game, and I do know the Joneses have their thoughts on this situation, this disastrous game. The highest graded Cowboys in Week 3, Eric Kendricks, who didn't even have a good game. He was rated on PFF 75.4. Hunter Lipke, he had one catch. You know what I mean? 70.4. Everybody else is in the 60s or below. Rico Dowdle, 69.5. Micah Parsons, 69.2. And Jake Ferguson at 68.6. Just utterly horrific across the board in every position for every player, superstar or not. Bad. The Cowboys offense, to me, our offense is starting to feel, and I said this to you guys during the game, it's starting to feel like 2020 when Dak snapped his ankle. And I say this only because of this. Pre-Monday Night Football, which was, of course, the Cincinnati games and the Cincinnati-Washington, the Jacksonville-Buffalo game. Before those games played, Dak Prescott led the NFL in pass attempts, 121 pass attempts. He led the NFL in yards, 851 passing yards, and passing yards per game, 283.7 passing yards per game. But is that really relative to the situation, or is it, having to throw all the time? That's what it sounds like to me. Through Week 3, same situation in 2020. You guys remember 2020? What happened that year? The Falcon game, we had to do that watermelon onside kick.
Yeah.
But those were high-scoring games against the Browns. I don't know if it was the Browns. I know it was the Falcons. I think it was the Giants. I don't know, the first week. And I know we had that issue with the high-scoring game against the Seattle Seahawks. Mm-hmm. Through Week 3 in 2020, Dak also led the NFL in attempts. He had thrown 21 more at the same time. He had 21 more pass attempts leading the NFL like he does now. He had 1,188 passing yards, which would have broken every record probably eventually if he had played the whole season. He has 851 now, also leading the NFL. And his yards per game at that time was 396 yards per game. I mean, that's mind-blowing. Yeah. Almost 400 yards per game. Of course, now he's at 283.7. The point is, he leads the NFL in all three categories once again. When you say, that means we have a great quarterback. Not a great thing to have to always do and have to be throwing for 50 passes a game. That's not a good thing. So we were basically almost doing that in 2020. We were doing that, and this time we're probably throwing it about 40 times a game. It's just too many passes. This last game, and I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. The last, I guess, 3 games. I don't know. We dropped back the last 2 games. I guess this. I'm sorry. It was this one game. We dropped back 55 times to pass against the Ravens.
I think I'd say 51, 55, something like that. I remember at one point the number of pass attempts matched the number of total rushing yards we had or something. So
55 times supposedly we dropped back. We used pre-snap motion just 15 times. That's what gets defenses off just a little bit.
So once again,
coaching matters.
This team that looks so much better when you keep your quarterback moving and you keep your offense moving, just in general. Just saying, it's just saying.
Yeah, I know.
Dak, having Dak move around inside the pocket only does good things for our team, and having some pre-snap motion, just having motion in general, helps the offense tremendously. So what do? We basically stick both of them in the cement and don't let them move.
The thing is, 15 is 15's not bad out of 30, but 15 pre-snap plays
out of 55.
Pre-snap motion, I'm sorry, out of 55 is disgraceful. And it's not just snap. To me, it's not just snapping the ball. And setting someone in motion and then snapping the ball. It's more while you're in motion. We do even less of that. The Saints, we did it 6 times, I think. So I'm just saying we need to use snap. We need to use more motion, but more motion at the snap. We don't do any of that stuff. The Ravens, they only had 17 pass attempts in the whole game. And they used pre-snap motion 12 times. 12 times they used it. We used it 15 and 55 attempts. They used it 12 times and 17 attempts. Just some little sneak peek of why we are.
That, if anything, puts it into perspective how disproportionately weird.
Do you remember
our 15
the Saints
attempts are?
The Saints last week, if I recall correctly, there were like 77% that used pre-snap motion. I'm saying this is an obvious issue for our defense, which every team's going to do.
Yeah.
Which already looks like shit. And it's an issue that we don't use it on offense.
Guys, even Jason fucking Garrett was out here calling out the Cowboys saying, yeah, secret's out. They're not a physical team. Everyone knows what they need to do to beat them. Basically, run the ball like crazy. Run at the, and force Dallas to abandon the run.
Yeah, I mean, if you...
That's it.
You get up on them, then the Cowboys have to start throwing the whole game, and look what happens. So we throw the whole game, we still use pre-snap motion 15 times. It's like we scripted 15. In other teams, they have 17 snaps that are passes, like Lamar Jackson, and they use pre-snap motion 12 times.
Yeah, and shout out to you, Jumps and Cowboys, AOD.
Yeah.
But Jumps and Cowboys said Dak's stats feel empty this year.
They do.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I completely understand that, obviously. I do. I feel that they don't really worth much, and that's what happened in 2020. They were great stats, but they were empty. We know it. So, listen. Last week the Raiders they went back 43. Listen to this. Last week against the Ravens, the Raiders dropped back 43 times, and they used pre-snap motion 33 times. So, do you understand what I'm saying? And they beat them. They beat the Ravens. We said, nah, we're not going to use pre-snap motion. We'll use it 15 times out of 55. This is bad coaching. This is bad coaching by McCarthy and Schottenheimer. Whoever's tied into that fucking play calling shit.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the game plan was supposed to be.
Yeah, when you look at...
But it feels like there isn't any... we're just not adapting, right?
Listen,
we brought the same game plan in this week we did the week before, and I did not see any changes. We are the way this offense is. Stagnant. We don't go in motion. Hit me where it hurts.
Listen, we don't go in motion. Every team goes in motion and whips us. They go in motion, and you see the Ravens' defense would have been hurt if we went in motion because the Raiders had 40 out of 43 passing plays. They used pre-snap 33 times.
Do you think that
that's a key there? The Cowboys didn't bother even. Where was the analytics team? If we can do this, why can't our great analytics team do this shit?
Yeah, no, I'll let you get back to your portion. I actually have a quick question point to make your way. You remember during the game day live stream, somebody, I wish I remember who it was, someone had commented something. Damn it. Sorry, I was trying not to interrupt you, and then I lost my point. So it's all good. I'm going to remember when you're halfway through the next point. And
well, you're going to be making a point, I think, or two now, because the Joneses did speak about things, and this horrific game, let's be real. Through week 3, the Cowboys offense has scored a touchdown 6 out of 34 offensive drives. 6 out of 34 offensive drives. 34 drives on offense, 6 touchdowns in 3 weeks. That's 2 touchdowns a week. That's horrific. Now, hey, maybe it's great. Let's compare it. The Panthers in 3 weeks have scored a touchdown on 5 of their 35 offensive drives in the same amount of games. By the way, all these drives, excluding all the kneel down and the half and the game kneel down drives, they're not counting them. So 6 out of 34 of our drives by our offense have resulted in touchdowns. 6 out of 34 drives. The Panthers' shitty, backwards, Andy Dalton offense, 5 out of their 35 offensive drives have touchdowns in the same 3 games. That's an embarrassment. And listen, I know we're going to hear from Jerry Jones and others and the players like Dak Prescott, but he threw into a tight window multiple times, guys, and that's not necessarily, is it his fault or is the coverage that good? We'll get into that in a bit. I'll get into Dak. We'll get into Dak. I want to make sure I bring up some stats before we hear from Dak. Let's go back and hear from Jerry and Steven about how they feel about this game. We had a great game, right, Jerry? Right, Steven? We had a great game. What did these clowns say?
Well, the fact that one of the first things we got hit with post-game was Jerry being asked about upgrading our roster. He said he doesn't think that's an issue. Quote, I like our personnel.
Clown show alert. Clown show alert.
And, of course, the cherry on top of that cherry. He was asked specifically about not pursuing Derrick Henry during the offseason. Jerry said we couldn't afford Derrick Henry.
Clown show alert. Clown show alert. Let me explain. Stop right there.
Go ahead.
No. If you have another comment by Stephen Jones about this topic.
No.
Okay,
So Stephen Jones commented about...
Yeah, if it's not about this, then we got to stop here. With Zeke, 0 broken tackles. 0 missed tackles forced. 1.2 yards per carry. Rico Dowdle, 0 broken tackles. 2 missed tackles forced. 1 yards average per carry. 1 yard. Deuce Vaughn, 0 broken tackles. 4 missed tackles forced. 1.3 yards. Yeah. So we got.
He's doing better
than Zeke and Rico. But the point here is not how many yards you're getting. The point is we have 3 games, 0 broken tackles, a total of 4 missed tackles. I'm sorry, a total of 6 missed tackles. But the point is 0 broken tackles, and all these guys. This is yards. That's not yards per carry. Yards after contact. So after contact,
yeah, so basically, as soon as anybody touches them, that's it. We're not moving. We're not going anywhere.
Jerry Jones just said there's no need to upgrade our roster. Derrick Henry, all this stuff. Derrick Henry had more.
We like our personnel.
Yeah, Derrick Henry had more broken tackles than probably our Cowboy running backs will have all year combined. And right now we have 0 broken tackles. Derrick Henry had like 5 on a play. I'm just saying 0 broken tackles by Zeke, Rico, and Deuce. And this is after contact. No yards after contact. 1.2 and 1.3. Everybody under 1.5 yards after contact. After getting hit, these guys go down no more than a yard and a half forward. That's it. It's like Jason Witten syndrome.
So they basically that's it. They just fall forward.
Not a single broken tackle this year, not one. But people say Dak has to do more. I'm just saying, he has to do more because we have no running game.
I mean,
that's the answer.
The answer is clearly Dak has to run.
Dak's got to run the ball too. You brought up the whole thing about Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys can't afford Derrick Henry. You know why? This is some Spot Track. They said that the Cowboys quote unquote couldn't afford Derrick Henry. He had a $9 million guaranteed portion contract, a $16 million in 2 years, $8 million. It was basically a 1 year guarantee. Mm-hmm. We'd have to lose one if we cut him next year. It's because we lose $1 million next year is what would happen. But he had his $8 million guarantee this year, 5.1 cap hit. That's all he was. But we couldn't. Why couldn't we afford him, Jerry? And it's not because of necessarily Dak Prescott, but yes, we owe our third string quarterback who's never going to play $5.3 million guaranteed because of the trade. And having Trey Lance here.
Trey Lance.
So Trey Lance, take him out and put in Derrick Henry, which would be the same cost. What about that? You see how we're missing there? So that's one option there. Now, look, we paid Dak Prescott basically, the highest paid player in history the day of the first game of the fucking season. That's the dumbest thing you can do as a team, as an organization. And they gave him a $5 million bonus in March when negotiations were stalled. Take that $5 million and let's say we didn't give it to him right away.
Yeah.
Now you get Derrick fucking Henry, and you still make this deal eventually with Dak, right?
I'm pretty sure, and again, someone in the chat correct me if I'm wrong and stuff like that. But let's say that we had basically not signed Zeke. Are we paying Zeke like $2-3 million?
Yeah,
or something?
Zeke's like $2 million.
Just to give you another example of after that scrounging up another $1 million or $2 million, that's just one little restructure away.
Without Trey Lance. Without Zeke, you got $7 million easy there, more than $7 million. And then if you just held back Dak's bonus, so you didn't have to pay him early, they did it on purpose. These clowns, so they didn't have to sign Derrick Henry. Yeah. They didn't want to sign Derrick Henry because they didn't want to have to say we got to pay this guy $8 million. So they rather pay Zeke $2 million, Trey Lance $5.5 million, and then Dak his bonus. It wasn't needed to be paid. They paid his bonus $5 million there while negotiations were stalled. It's called bad business. It's bad ownership. It's bad GMing. And guys, I've been saying this. You've been seeing this, maybe saying this. You guys in the chat have been with us for 8 seasons of us doing this. 7.5 years of us literally saying the same motherfucking thing. And the fans, some of these fans, don't even know what's going on. They're getting taken to the bank by these. They're getting taken a fool by these 2 clowns. And they just keep doing it. And people are like, well, just go to the game every year. I mean, it's fine. The Joneses will keep doing what they're doing. So, I'm sorry. I don't want to go on a rant. But when I hear bullshit like that from Jerry Jones, he's got to be called on his bullshit. So there's a lot of and I'm not blaming Dak's contract or CEEDEE's contract. These things could have been done without those guys' situations. The Cowboys, it's embarrassing. And when you look at this, guys, the Cowboys' last two opponents, I'm talking about the Ravens with Derrick Henry and the Saints with Alvin Kamara and the rest of the running backs, ran at the ball. They have run 106 offensive plays combined, both games. They ran the ball 84 of those 106. So teams are just going to run all day, and that's all they have to do.
Like I said, Jason Garrett absolutely called it out. He said the blueprint is out on how to kick your ass, Cowboys. Also, I feel like he also mentioned the fact that he said we are not a physical team.
Yes, he did say that. And
okay, good.
No shit, Sherlock, for Jason Garrett. We haven't been a physical team since Jason Garrett was here. So, yeah, he of course will know
but
that.
Right now we're like Charm and Ultra Soft.
Yeah, so right now defensively we can't stop any running backs, right? By the way, these last two games, these 106 offensive plays, 84 of those plays were runs. They've scored 72 points on us in these two last games. The team is soft, not just the defense. But the point is we don't even have the offense to help Dak Prescott at running back. Opposing starting running backs like, what was it, Jones in week 1, I think, Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry. They're averaging 128 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns per game against us. In 3 games, opposing starting running backs are averaging 128 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Jerry Jones decided to say, we're good with Zeke. When you do the research, guys, I mean, it's embarrassing. But when you have to stop the run to win. And I know we're going to have, I'm going to actually bring in a little Micah Parsons, I think, who's going to talk about something here in a minute. But the thing is that I'll get back to that. I guess we'll wait till Micah on that. I think that's something else on Stephen Jones, too.
Because Stephen Jones, his comment was about the whole affordability or lack thereof.
Yeah, definitely add into that, please, yes.
But Jerry had additional comments, and he even expanded on that. So
wonderful.
I don't did you want me to just finish?
Yeah. I just wanted to.
The running back affordability.
Yeah, finish the running back affordability and quickly hit up the chat for a couple quick comments on this topic.
Okay, so of course, when Jerry said, "Oh, well, we just couldn't afford him," well, reporters did their due diligence and asked, "Well, why not?" Right? Jerry laughs and then says, "I don't know. Why can't you buy a mansion when you live in a different kind of house? We couldn't afford it. We couldn't make that all fit." That's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, guys, these clowns are lying. Plain and simple, and we just called them out.
So, and because a lot of that discussion goes into the upgrading of the personnel thing. Remember, he said he's happy with the team. He said, when I say all in on personnel, I like our personnel. I don't see personnel changes out here. I see everybody doing better and getting better, and those are the kinds of things that I'm looking for.
Where is he looking? He's got an echo chamber of delusion.
And in case, just like to be extra clear, he said, I like where we are at all positions. Just want to make that clear.
Right.
Not just the run
Cowboys not going to get anybody at defensive tackle either. Matt Batten said money's not the problem. Bad management is the problem with the Joneses. Joneses are a joke, 100%. And that's the point I'm trying to make from the beginning of time. Even if the players can outplay the coaches and the coaches can out-coach the Joneses, you still got to overcome the Joneses. And that's the problem. The Joneses keep this team limited on personnel, players, opportunities to not just help the coaches and the team, but also help the players. Like if Dak got the opportunity half the teams in the league do for their team, Dak would have a better chance to succeed offensively.
It's a very disabling type of mindset.
Same thing defensively. If you're using only your own guys, you're never going to hit on your own guys all the time. You got to hit on somebody else's guys sometimes. Mark Hosepian hitting in the house here, and he's moving up this board with that 5 on it. What did the man say? I'm sure we're going to have some good insight here.
He said, this team lacks good depth talent. We hit home runs with Parsons, our 2 corners, those 2 offensive linemen, tight end, receiver, but everyone else is elevated to really good, and they are not. So
100%. That 100%. And they're all hype.
I would like to add to that it's not so much that we lack good depth talent. It's that an overwhelming majority of that depth talent is the equivalent of 5 years old. It is their first day of school. We have so many undrafted and rookie guys at key positions. And yes, on that I agree, Mark. Right? We have a lot of young guys that have been elevated and are being expected to carry the load the way that an established starter would. Carry the load the way that, a Micah Parsons or a Trayvon Diggs
and that is what
that is expected to do.
And that was what we were saying throughout. I hope you watched that game with us, Mark, or at least watch the replay, because the whole time I'm saying this, the Cowboys are forcing 3 different kind of players to perform like veteran superstars.
Yeah.
They're forcing undrafted rookies, and guys in their second and third years that have big-time question marks. Some will produce, most won't. That's what the Cowboys are saying we're improving on this year. That's how we improve. That's how we went all in with our own guys.
Yeah.
That's stupidity. That's clown show. Now, the opposite of clown show, what did Marco Seppian have to say?
He said, how many other players in the past 4 years have made an impact? Now add to that average coaches and idiot owners.
Yeah.
A disaster in the making, clown show.
The owners are the ones that also make the coaching even worse. Like, whatever Garrett can do, the Jones made it worse. Whatever Kellen Moore was doing, they made it worse. Whatever McCarthy's doing, they made it worse because they're always involved.
Do you know what's funny? One of the only things I was like slightly happy to see is that after this loss, while we did still have our usual contingent of super DAK haters, right? It really started to sink into people that this is a systemic issue.
Right.
Right? Yeah. Not saying that DAK is some perfect quarterback or anything, but he is good enough to get it done if you literally meet him at least halfway, right? And since we're here, the final thing I'll say is that Stephen Jones comment, because like I said, he was asked on 105.3 The Fan to basically, cover for Jerry once more, and in detail he explained why the Cowboys couldn't afford Derrick Henry, saying, quote, "You've got to pick and choose where you're going to emphasize and where you're going to put your cap resources. Certainly you've done that with DAK, CEEDEE, Zach Martin, and obviously on the other side of the ball with Diggs. You can only pay so much of those guys, and it's real. I know everybody wants to say that you could push something out, but at some point as you push out, you're going to have to then make a hard decision on someone like Micah Parsons." And Stephen Jones said he made it clear they're not going to do anything that would prevent them from re-signing Parsons. So if they make some kind of trade or something like that, it would be unlikely to involve a player that's under contract beyond this season. So again, that handcuffs us in a different way.
He don't want to trade Micah Parsons.
So not just that, but basically, if we were to make any kind of trade
it would
for
mean
any
we have to get rid of
outside
Micah.
guy.
Right.
We're looking for someone whose contract would be up at the end of this year.
Right.
We're not looking for someone who has more than that long. We're looking for short-term contracts because we're not trying to make long-term commitments when we haven't even locked down Micah. Right. That's what Steven is saying.
Well, he's saying that if we sign Von Miller, Micah's gone eventually when his contract's up, is what they're implying because they're lying.
Now, the other unspoken thing that nobody wants to talk about is that we got $20 million sitting in the bank.
Yeah.
Chilling there waiting.
That's to roll over for DAK and CEEDEE. That's what they're going to tell you.
So, Steven did actually address the potential of making a move this season if we so wanted to. I'm going to read what Steven said and then hit up Mark Hovsepian's $5 holler here.
You got that 5 on it.
But Steven said, could we take advantage of an opportunity if you felt like the situation was there? Absolutely we can. Obviously, the cap is a lot more than just about this year. Where our pressure starts to hit is going forward, as we try to have 3 players the caliber of DAK and CEEDEE and Micah. And he was asked, why not take some risks now? Not worry. Basically,
take care of that contract.
Fuck the future. Do it. Get it done now. And worry about the future.
And you could open up for other players to get signed. Yeah, you're going to screw yourself in the future, but you're going to screw yourself now if you don't do anything.
So Steven tripled down on that whole, but then we won't have Micah, saying, quote, that scenario goes to giving up on someone like Micah to where you'd have to move on from him.
That's what
if you want to push it all out there, then you won't have the resources to pay a player like Micah, pay a player like Tyler Smith. We believe in our process. We believe in this football team. We believe in this coaching staff. We believe we're going to right the ship.
I believe you're an idiot, Stephen Jones.
We believe you're on the Titanic.
We believe they're the clown show, and I'm going to say he's going to help about pushing it in. You had to push the shit. Anyway, I'm not going to say that out loud. That's for after dark talk there. But man, these 2 clowns, they make me embarrassed to fucking have to say, these are our owners.
Stephen Jones said it. He said, Mark said with this $5 holler, saying, tell him how many superstars are we paying good money to? DAK. Okay. Quarterback. I get it. Wide receiver, I get it. Guard, I get it. But who else are we paying huge money to?
Well, he said Trayvon Diggs. He also
Philly and San Francisco do it.
Exactly.
But yeah, the big three, since this is what Stephen Jones himself just said, because, yeah, he mentioned Trayvon Diggs in there, but obviously Dak, CeeDee, and Micah are the apple of Steven's eye currently, in the sense of those are the guys, those are the big money guys, those are the guys, sucking all the juice from the wallet. But, I mean, I'm going to go back and actually touch on what Drums and Cowboys had said here, saying the biggest reason we couldn't afford a good running back is because these idiots wait till the market's at its highest, and then we sign our marquee players.
Yeah, and then there's no running backs left. That's the fucking thing.
Please remember, we could have had CeeDee and Dak at more reasonable prices. Yes, I know that sounds like a strange thing to say, considering that we're also the first ones to say that the market sets the price, and there's only so many different directions you can go with that, but you can absolutely massage the numbers in a way that helps this team so much more than you can when you're signing them, 2 hours before the NFL season kicks off for us. Check out what Greeny said
3
days before the end of training camp.
Check out what Greeny said in my short that I posted. He made I can't play here because then ESPN will tag me and they'll fucking copyright strike me. But the thing is, if you check out what he said, he basically is saying what we're telling you right now.
And Michael Stepien just hit us back to back 1, 2, 3 times in a row. First with another $5 holler, and then with back to back
J. Lou twos,
$2 hollers. Yeah.
And by the way, with that, he breaks the tie that he had with Jet Li. He's all by himself in second place, still trailing John Luna though. John Luna's in first place, our sponsor of the week. Mark,
that's right,
heading for the top spot though. Right now, what did Mark have to say with his multiple 3 drops?
Only facts here. He said, "What fucking asshole re-signs 2 big money players at the beginning of the season, saving money, and having no one to sign?"
Exactly.
Jerry Jones, the cap is going up.
Right.
What an idiot. After the other comments, he's like, "Oh yeah, the cornerback as well as in Trayvon. 5 players are taking up 99% of the cap. This bullshit. Bullshit." Actually, I think that went through twice for you, Mark.
Yeah. He was very adamant about that, Mark.
Well,
Mark was. Hey, listen.
Double bullshit then. I call.
I 100% agree. Listen, he said it in his previous comment there. Other teams do this. They roll it. They have, when you look at the way they did Jalen Hurts' contract, it's like masterpiece. Why do we have such trouble? I know why. We have idiots like Stephen Jones and his fraternity brother that is run the capology shit. These guys were. This guy was a locker room like a laundry guy. The guy who's working on the cap with Stephen Jones, whose major has nothing to do with business.
And as much as we don't want to admit it, Philly and the Niners have been some of the most competitive teams in the NFC in the last handful of years.
Because of the moves they've done. And then they had Carson Wentz. Blew that first round pick, pay him that money, and still got a chance to do a draft and still get all the guys they wanted on their team, and they worked through it. That's called...
The Niners literally have Mr. Irrelevant as their starting quarterback now.
But that's not a money move. That's a drafting move, which is good.
No,
you could have lucked into that one. I think it's more about the fact that they make consistent...
They built a team around him.
No. The scheme was built around him, and I'm saying to make his life easier. Shanahan made his life.
Not for him, great. Literally around him. Right. Like, we're going to protect you with a team so good you won't be able to.
That's the point, though. That's what these other teams do that we don't. That's coaching, though, baby. I'm talking about building the team together. This team handcuffs their coaches. They handcuff their star players, and they bullshit their fans and lie to the fans.
I mean, we handcuff our coach, too.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, so you did say that. I'm
talking about that the front office handcuffs the coaches because they give them less to work with. We know about the Dan Quinn issue, where Dan Quinn asked for what's his name from the Seattle, Bobby Wagner.
Yeah.
3 years, we don't get him. He wanted $8 million. He only need $8 million. He's the leading tackler in the NFL last year.
Yeah, even in the draft room, I know Quinn tried to plead his case for 1 or 2 other defensive players, and the Joneses also said,
but the big thing is that after all that's said and done, Dan Quinn goes to Washington, he gets Bobby Wagner, and he's out there doing great.
Right.
This is the front office handcuffing coaches, players that don't get the most out of their careers because they don't get the best players. They get good players. They get our guy players. They get a scary guy and then 4 non-scary guys next to Dak Prescott or Micah Parsons. And that is the problem with these stubborn cocksuckers, these stubborn cocksucking clowns. That is the problem with this organization, this team. And it starts with these fucking fools. And that's where this, you talk about accountability, they don't have any. Why does McCarthy or Dak or the ball boy or the water boy, why do they have accountability?
Yeah.
If these 2 fucking clowns don't have accountability, we still have a guy who's leading this team to nothing, not even close to a championship game in the NFC for almost 30 years. And it's because of our GM, head clown, Jerry Jones, and his miniature mini-me clown, Stephen Jones. Let's be honest. That's the only consistent thing. It's not Romo. It's not Dak. It's not Des Bryant. It's not Jason Witten. It's not this guy or that guy. It's not Parcells or even Garrett or McCarthy to that extent. It is the clown show. This is a consistent issue on this team since he fucking got rid of Jimmy Johnson as our GM and fired him. That was our last GM.
Jerry's
Jimmy
got 8.5
Johnson.
inches on his brain, not
Too many inches on his brain. Anyways.
Stuff. But Marco Seppi and a big mahalo back to back.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's how much I'm
$5
ranting, Mark. I'm sorry.
He said, I have a better chance of Margot Robbie massaging my turtle than Jerry Jones trying to massage the cap. This is so stupid. Zeke and 2 outside OLD?
Outside defender, outside linebackers? Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know. I'm guessing that was
too old.
Oh, okay. Zeke and 2 old. Okay, sorry. For some reason, I'm thinking that's like a, I'm like outside line defense.
Maybe,
I
yeah,
don't know,
I
but
don't
still.
know.
Anyway, the point is, he also said, defensive tackles to help areas of need. Explain to me how your 2 starting defensive tackles can't stop the run, and the 2 defensive tackles you sign will not start over any of them. That's how you improve your run defense? Clowns?
We were calling out, listen, 100% agree with Mark, because we here were saying, I didn't want to bring this up because I know it would piss off Mark and piss me off too, but I was looking at the Seahawks. They're 3-0. Their defense is one of the best in the league. They got Mike McDowell over there, whatever his name is, from the Baltimore Ravens, who had number 1 defense last year.
Of course.
Because of him and the players they had. So he went to Seattle, put together his team. He put on a defensive line as nose tackle, and he's dominating. Jonathan Hankins. Jonathan Hankins is number 97. Go watch the film. He's dominating over there in the scheme with him under center, doing the things that he had 3 tackles for loss in one game.
Could have had a bad bitch.
That we didn't get him because we wanted to pay him the same as they did, and really we actually lowballed him under what Seattle did. So he just said, "I'm going to Seattle," and Seattle's happy. You see what I'm talking about, guys? This is not necessarily a person. This is not Linville Joseph and Jordan Phillips' fault. This is the front office's fault for waiting till the end and the scraps to hope to get someone instead of going and getting the guys that will fit, that are right. Move around some money, push it forward. You'll figure it out later. And let's try to win a Super Bowl now instead of try to win 18 Super Bowls in 18 years. It's not going to happen. So this is the mindset has not changed. It has not budged since we started doing this 8 years ago. It has not budged until this moment right now. This moment I'm talking about, it has not even fucking moved in mentality from this front office.
Very frustrating.
I'm beyond frustrated, as you can tell.
Now, question for you. Did you want me to finish what Jerry Jones had to say, or did you want to touch on a few other things before we go back to Jerry and then so what our players had to say as well?
No, I mean, I'm trying to finish the game stuff here.
All right, so go ahead and finish the game stuff because I can tell you right now.
I need a clown show break, honestly. I'm gonna hemorrhage.
The most important, I would say, of Jerry's comments on this current situation for this past game, right? He makes 1 or 2 comments about this upcoming game that I thought were interesting.
No,
but
wait to those.
We can wait for that.
But first, let's get this comment by Marco Seppi with the 5 on it.
He said, "You see why I was praying we would tank last year? That's the only way there will be a huge change. 1 step back for 10 steps forward. Plus, we can see Jerry Jones frown."
Hey, I know that is one of the good things. But the thing is that some people are saying he's purposely the all-in was tanking this year. That's what a lot of people are kind of saying this year. I kind of
call bullshit on that personally. I think Jerry would have done it in a slightly different way, but hey, at this point, who knows? To me, it's more of a how do I put this? So
trying to please both sides and knowing you're going to lose.
We kind of touched on this a little bit. I know I mentioned this during Sunday's game, but when was the last time Dallas had a top 10 pick? Again, memory could be fuzzy, but wasn't it Zeke? Wasn't Zeke our last top 10 pick?
It was. He was.
Zeke was an immediately impactful player. He credit where credit's due, right? When Zeke first came onto the team, he was basically holding it down. Great. But we did not do anything with that. So as much as I want to believe that somehow tanking and ending up with like a high draft pick would change something,
yeah,
I don't think it will in a significant way. Obviously, the only thing it'll do is, we're going to have a really talented player on our team, hopefully. But
the tanking is, Mark's talking about is for changes to happen, and I don't think that's ever. They'll always chalk it up to something else. We have to be tank. We have to tank. We have to not tank. We have to be bad for like 5 years in a row before Jerry Jones sees money lost and says, "All right, now we got to do something." He'll be dead by then. So I don't know if anything's going to help the process of this front office other than firing Mike McCarthy and bringing in Bill Belichick ASAP. Not to save our world. Now, I don't know if Belichick can do that. But to at least plant some seeds in the Joneses' fucking eardrums. Because they at least listen to him as a friend. And that means more to the Joneses than the business. In the sense of, if you're talking business with the Joneses, they got their walls up to Mike McCarthy. Because they know that means it's going to cost us money if McCarthy asks for this guy or that guy. Or Zimmer asks for this guy or that guy. But if Bill Belichick asks for this guy or that guy, Bill Belichick's their buddy. They may listen to him a little bit more. Even though it's business. It's still, they've got a friendship here. Because Stephen Jones listens to Jerry and back and forth. They talk to each other in their echo chamber. So if Bill Belichick enters his echo chamber, maybe he can plant a seed. That's all I'm hoping for with Bill Belichick. I don't expect miracles. I just expect a seed. A seed being planted.
And hey, Marco Seppi with the $2 holler said, I'd rather be Bubba's cellmate than hear Jerry Jones talk.
So that's why we're going to hold off on... You trust me. You're going to want to hear what Jerry had to say still. But let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the game and finish up this disaster of a game. And we're going to hear some from the players talking too.
Remember with the short turnaround, we're not just closing out this past game. We're also trying to start moving forward.
Yeah, well, we are. I don't want to think about this game, honestly.
I know.
But we're going to talk about this here. Let's go through it real quick. Dak Prescott. So let me just explain something here. He threw into a tight window on 35% of his passes. 35% of his passes, tight windows. 18 out of his 50. He dropped back 55 times, but he had 51 passing attempts. He got sacked 4 times.
Damn.
But 18 out of his 51 attempts were tight window throws, guys. That should be no quarterback should have to be forced to do that. He was forced to throw into tight windows the entire game. Marco Seppian here dropping another 5 on it. What did the man say?
John Luna's down to 40.
It's true.
Is that 40? 48?
48 points on the stream, boss. Yeah, he's past the halfway mark. Mark's got that 5 on it. What did he say?
Tanking would help with picks, changing the GM styling and getting rid of coaches. Don't tank, and we will do this 12-4, lose in the playoffs for 10 more years.
Yeah.
So, like I said, tanking would help with some of that. Jerry will just see that as an opportunity to triple down on his draft mindset, which worked back in 1990 for the most part, right? No, not the case in the modern day of the NFL.
To me, it's more.
So that's my fear this type of thing won't inspire the type of change that we want to see from this team will not happen by us tanking the season or having a really shitty year.
I hate saying the word tanking. Because that to me is a disgusting word.
It implies intentional.
Yeah. I can never. I'm sorry, Mark. I can never say tanking the season. If the Cowboys decide to forcibly tank the season by basically putting in a team full of good players and players that can't hang, well, that's kind of a half tanking kind of situation. It's not on purpose, but hey, this is all we had. This is what we put out on the field, and this is what happened. And we know what's going to happen is a 5 or 6 win season. So you could say that's tanking, but they're not tanking on purpose. I would not agree with purposely tanking. There's no world I see that in. I see pride in the star, but I understand
from Mark Hosep.
I understand where Mark's coming from, but tanking is a word I just don't use tanking. That's just me.
So Marco Seppian said, Mrs. MCF, no other way for a chance to change.
I understand his hope for change from that.
I have to admit, this comment also made me laugh, Mark. House Nelson said, no need to tank. We can't help but lose.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't have to tank. We're already doing it while we're trying to win.
And that's kind of my point. We are tanking because we suck, not because we are trying to take losses so we can get a better draft pick and make a point.
Don't you feel better knowing that we're at least technically trying?
No. In a way, I mean, yeah, I don't want to tank, but in a way, it's like, damn, we're trying and this is the best we got? This is a coaching issue. Most of our stuff,
is the best we got.
Most of the stuff that we're happening is coaching issues. But let me ask you a question, guys. When Dak Prescott's throwing in the tight windows 35% of the time, 18 of 51 pass attempts are going into tight windows. Mm-hmm. And again, you guys know tight window is less than a yard separation when the ball is thrown.
Okay. So
Dak's throwing the ball when there's less than a yard. That's very hard. Not Tom Brady couldn't do that many times is the point.
Thread the needle, Dak.
I mean, threading the needle, a couple times in a game, yeah, Dak better do it. But 18 times out of 51 passes, that is stupid. Why are we getting in this situation? Why are we not having separation from the receivers? That's the third highest when it comes to tight window throws, the third highest in Dak Prescott's career. And his highest in the game since 2018. Talk about his third year in the league. When he had to throw it tight windows, he threw 44% tight window throws in that game against the Lions in 2018. So this one, 35%, 18 out of 51 attempts in tight windows. But why? And I'm going to tell you why. The receivers, baby. Dak throwing the ball. Brandon Cooks, 0.9 yard separation throughout the game.
Wonderful.
That's the week 3 average separation at the time of the catch or incompletion. Less than a yard separation for Dak to throw that ball to Brandon Cooks throughout the game. CeeDee Lamb, 2.1 yards of separation. Jalen Tolbert, 2.1 yards of separation.
That's not good.
Jake Ferguson, with his first game back from a sprained MCL, 3 yards of separation. That's good.
I was going to say, yeah, like Ferguson understood the assignment.
But when you look at the actual overall, again, tight window throws for Dak, 35.3%. You know how many Lamar Jackson tight window throws he had? 0%. 0 out of 17 of his passes were tight window. Everyone was wide open. Every Cowboys pass catcher, every single one, I don't care who caught the ball, Lipke, whoever, every single pass catcher had less separation on average in this game against the Ravens than every Ravens pass catcher, meaning their worst. Their worst separated, the worst receiver, any position. It could be fullback. Any of their receivers, their worst guy was Nelson Aguilar. He only had an average separation of 3.5 yards.
That's...
Rashad Bateman, 4.3. Zay Flowers, 4.2. Mark Andrews, 3.7 with Isaiah Likely. 3.5 for Nelson Aguilar. That was it. That's their entire team, and that's all they had. For us, Jake Ferguson, 3 yards of separation, which sounds good until you realize that they had everyone at 3.5 yards or more in separation the whole game against our defense who was sleeping. That means your defensive scheme sucks. Not just your players might have been off, they suck, whatever. That's more than just your players sucking. That is a scheme that sucks on defense. On offense, we can't find any separation. No separation for Dak Prescott or McCarthy's offense. CeeDee Lamb, right now, let me put CeeDee Lamb up on this motherfucker. He got to take a lot of blame. He's on the sidelines bitching and yelling and screaming. And Zach Martin and Dak are like telling him to calm down. He's like, I'm here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here. Shut up and play, motherfucker. This is where, CeeDee Lamb, he's on fucking acid against the Packers. I don't know what's going on. And he's fucking in another world. And now he's pissed off in this game and acting like a child on the sideline. So
yeah, he made a comment.
But we're going to hear it now. Yeah.
Not even about this. I'm talking about from like after he was signed and stuff like that. He had made a comment basically saying that these early games of the season were basically his training camp.
Right, I remember that.
Holy shit, that went down like a lead balloon after this performance. That's all I'm trying to say. That it's those types of comments just bring it back to
and even
why did we not sign him so he could have a training camp with the team?
And we already had, you could say, oh, it's because of him. No, it's because of Jones. Jones were at $32 million. They were paying him less than A.J. Brown was getting at the time of training camp and into training camp.
Yeah.
So
anyway, that's it.
Yeah, there's no way that's the Joneses making that problem, not CeeDee Lamb making. Some people in the chat are like, "You should have been there for training camp." The Joneses should have paid him when Jefferson got paid. It was way before.
Are you going to go to work if you're not getting paid?
So, well, he was getting paid the $17 million.
You get my point. Yeah. Okay,
I know.
If I'm getting paid minimum wage and everyone around me is making $100,000, I'm not getting paid.
Listen, the point is that he didn't want to get hurt, and then the Joneses now have an excuse to not get him his contract. So he didn't want to get hurt in training camp, and I understand that's business. Now, That, unfortunately, is not CeeDee Lamb's fault. That is the Joneses' fault, in my opinion. CeeDee Lamb, though, when you look at him right now, even though he had 2.1 yards separation, which is not that good, he ranks next to last in the NFL in all pass catchers. I'm talking about running back, every single tight ends, receivers. He ranks next to last, second to last when it comes to average separation. He's only at 1.9 yards of average separation per route. Now that is unacceptable. That is not going to... How is Dak going to... Now, you can blame Dak, and I do blame Dak for some of his throws were bad and whatever. And Dak has his... But how can you blame it all? I mean, CeeDee Lamb fumbled the game away in a way in this game. But he also does not create separation. Every catch he's making, Dak's got to thread the needle on them. Yeah. So he's got the second worst separation of all receivers in the NFL.
Helping Dak, not forcing Dak to be Tom Brady.
Exactly. And this is the problem, because the Joneses think Dak is Tom Brady. Then they're calling the plays like Dak's Tom Brady, and he's not. And I've never said he has been, right? When you keep looking at our other pass catchers in this game, you have... Thank goodness that we were able to get back Jake Ferguson to the mix. I mean, he did actually help us a bit. He has 1,045 career yards in 35 career games. On Sunday against the Ravens, he became the second fastest tight end in franchise history to reach 1,000 yards. The only person in front of him to hit 1,000 yards in 35 games, Jason Witten. So he's right there next to one of our greatest tight ends, the greatest tight end probably in our history, Jason Witten. I know we have Billy Joe Dupree and Mike Ditka and others, but definitely I would say Witten is our best tight end in history, and you got Jake Ferguson right there rubbing up against him there when it comes to yardage in 35. I mean, remember his rookie year for Ferguson, he only had like 17 attempts towards him. He had nothing that year. So great job last year, and again, this game, he's one of our few good players here showing out. Now, when you look at on the offensive side, and you look at our running backs, I spoke about this. I mean, we spoke about this a lot about running backs and why we didn't get Henry and all that stuff. Look at the snaps by running back in this game against the Ravens. Rico Dowdle had 37 snaps, by far also the most effective, statistically. Hunter Lipke had 30 snaps in this game. So 37 for Rico, 30 for Hunter Lipke. Only 15 for Zeke. And Deuce Vaughn got 5. So you're seeing Zeke kind of get pushed to the bottom of the totem pole here when it comes to running back rotate, at least for this game. I'm going to say for this game. Now,
how much of that was an intentional decision, and how much of that was just we had to abandon the run with the quickness?
Yeah, they just even with the chances they got, even the snaps that they got when they ran the ball, they were not effective. Nobody really was. But Rico Dowdle still, by far, was the most effective guy. And he still was bad. So let's bring in Dalvin Cook this week before he gets plucked by the goddamn Steelers. So the last part of things here is offensive line, which is really the biggest issue here.
They had a rough day.
Terrence Steele. Not on your screen, that's Tyler Smith. But Terrence Steele, and I said let's watch him in this game, his technique, and I said that Dak almost took a safety.
Yeah.
Terrence Steele had allowed 5 pressures. Zach Martin, a bad day for him. He allowed 4 pressures. Cooper Beebe at rookie had a horrible day. He allowed 3 pressures and at least 1 sack. Tyler Smith allowed 3 pressures, and Tyler Guyton allowed 5 pressures. The tackles and the ends we were allowing the ends coming in on our tackles 10 pressures by the outside. Just on Terrence Steele and Tyler Guyton. Dak, of course, like I said, made his own share of mistakes in quarters 1, 2, and 3.
You did.
But he was also under siege the entire fucking game. Not an excuse, but he was. There was no time to throw. There was no time for even the plays to get to where they were supposed to be at for him to throw the ball. He had to take sacks, throw into unbelievable no separation coverage. It's not an excuse. It's the truth.
Yeah, and
also the offensive line had
to blame only the rookies too. Like you said, that. Yeah. I mean,
Terrence Steele 5 pressures, Zach Martin 4 pressures. Those are our starters. Those are our
veterans. Yeah.
Tyler Smith allowed 3. Cooper Beebe had 3, and Guyton had 5. So I'm just saying, like, Dak was under pressure the entire game. Our offensive line had a horrible day, and we're not cohesive. They were disjointed in this game. I'm going to say this about the rookie, Cooper Beebe. He struggled when it came to twists on the defensive, they would twist or stunt, and he would get lost and not pick up the guy fast enough. He was late, and it allowed for a sack. Terrence Steele had a problem when the Cowboys were backed up on 3rd and long or 2nd and long. It was a penalty. When we got backed up, something and long, they knew we were going to throw. Steele had problems. When they knew it, they used him. Tyler Guyton, he had an obvious hold, although I think they should have called a hold against the Ravens on Micah earlier in the game, but they called, it was a hold for Guyton, inside shoulder pad grab there, when he got beat inside. Zach Martin playing un-Zach Martin-like in this game. Again, guys, Dak missed some throws. These guys missed a lot of blocks. It's a combination of a fucked up situation. We lost by 3, so we could definitely improve this a lot more. Now, but that's the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, quickly, guys, not much. Because it was just so bad. If I speak on this too much, I'm going to vomit. I'm not joking. So I had to do this out of my own. I had to do this for my own health here. But let me just say this: opposing quarterbacks combined passer rating versus the Cowboys in the last 3 games in AT&T Stadium, we're including the Packer game, the Saints game, and this Raven game. Opposing quarterbacks have thrown, their passer rating has been 147.1. That's like almost, I think 149 is the best you can do. Or 153 or something. Micah Parsons, who really has one sack all year, one against the Browns, hasn't really done anything else, but he's helped, obviously. Been one of our best players on defense. Still hasn't shown up on the stat sheet too much. When he got a chance to rush the passer, remember, they only threw 17 passes. Micah's not going to be able to do much when you throw 17 passes. When he did get a chance to rush the passer, he did very well. Out of those 17 times, he had 4 pressures. It's a 33. He also had a 33.3% pass rush win rate, which means 1 out of every 3 pass rushes, he won against the offensive lineman. That's the 4th highest pass rush win rate among edge rushers who rushed at least 5 times in the entire week 3. So top 5 pass rusher winning on the line of scrimmage, but he only had 17 opportunities at best because he might not have been in for every single pass rush either. They only threw it 17 times. So Micah had 4 pressures in at most 17. Now, the problem is that the Cowboys could not put Baltimore in a lot of situations where they were forced to pass. If we're winning, 2 weeks ago against the Saints, we were 16 points. Our offense scored the first 4 drives. We were down 19 even after all of that. So how the defense is going to still be in a bad situation where we're not forcing the other team to pass. This week we were down 28-6. What do you think? 28-3. What do you think is going to happen? They're just going to keep, or maybe it's 28-6. The point is that they're just going to keep relying on the run. They're not going to pass. Yeah. Why pass and go up against Micah pass rushing you ass? So again, you look at the linebacker snap counts. Eric Kendricks. We could take Micah off because Micah's not counted as a linebacker here. Eric Kendricks had 63 snaps, overshown. Remember, he had 44. Then he went down to like 14. And then he went back up to 49. But he was always a step late against Lamar Jackson. Yeah. So he failed us there. The rookie, Maurice Liufau, 29 snaps in this game. And Damone Clark, only 12. Damone Clark has fallen off a little bit. Liufau is actually starting to bypass him.
By the way, Canna Bros, they probably do have our playbook. We've been using the same one since 1999.
Feels like it.
So,
that's all right. That's the pass rush side of things. But, baby, Micah Parsons spoke about fixing the run defense from his podcast. Yes, he did his dumb podcast, and he was late to it, and he was, trying to take some responsibility and accountability, but there was some things in there that I saw, and again, basically it sounds like there's something still not that it's fixed, not learned yet on this defense. Well, that's what it feels like to me. I mean, and that could be on Zimmer, that could be on the players, it's on everyone on the defense, in my opinion.
I'm gonna read this comment real quick by Sick Aguilar 04, and then I'll go into Micah's comment there. But he said there's multiple problems currently in Dallas, but there's something just not right. Everything seems off. The players, the coaches. We need to get our crap together sooner rather than later. I agree. You're right. Like, something does feel off.
It's dead man walking. Mike McCarthy knows this is last year.
Yeah, but like I said, it's not just that, because even in Jason Garrett's last year, the team didn't feel like this.
Because we were already at this point.
So
I don't know. But I know what you mean. There's a different feeling this time around.
And that's what I'm saying. It's let's go ahead and hear what Micah had to say.
The reason I want to bring up Micah's comment is because of this. Per ESPN research, the Cowboys have allowed 557 rushing yards. That's the most through 3 games since the year of 1963.
Jesus Christ.
We've allowed 5.4 yards per carry. That's the worst average through 3 games since 1979. We have given up 8 rushing touchdowns. That's the most in our Cowboy franchise history, 3 games. 8 touchdowns on the ground. Our run defense is, by the way, we're ranked 32nd in every single category. We are by far the worst rush defense, run-stop defense in the NFL. So, how do we fix this, Micah? What did he say?
He said, some fans question how I fit in. People feel like I should be at linebacker. You've always got to look at it like everyone's due their opinion. You can have your opinion. The things that me and Zim do, I mean, we saw flashes of it with me over the center and things like that, but we can't get everything until we stop the run man. And that just hones on to me setting great edges, me and Law setting great edges, us playing stronger in our A-gaps, tackling, getting second and long, third and long, forcing the game into our hands so where we can utilize that. People are game planning, so we can't utilize that. So we have to do a better job of stopping the run and get into a situation that we need to get to have a higher amount of success. And we will do that, and we will fix that. Zim knows we're going to fix it. I believe we're going to fix it. Our leadership council believes we're going to fix it. As long as we still believe, you can accomplish anything.
Believing only takes you so far. You got to do. It's actions, baby.
No offense, but
all I'm saying is I need action from you, Micah and Zimmer, and everybody else in this team. No more talking, because he's over there arguing with DeMarcus, Lawrence on the sideline. They're arguing back and forth, and they're going to fight each other. I mean,
does that sound like?
Yeah, they got to fix more than just fix it real quick. You know what I mean?
Did this statement sound like anybody? Because Micah sounded like Jerry there.
It's funny because we heard Dak start turning to Jerry a little bit.
I'm just saying, like, if I had read that quote and you asked me to guess, like, who from the Cowboys, either front office or players, said that, I would have guessed Jerry. So, that's all. So, do you have any?
Well, I mean, everything from here on for me is about the next upcoming game. So you have the floor, baby. What do these players say after the game, after practice?
Not even the players. Remember, we're not even done with what Jerry had to say after the game.
Oh, I'm hitting my shotgun ready to blow my brains out. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
So it's okay. Jerry Jones, as far as the 3 consecutive home losses, because remember, Green Bay, playoffs. Jerry Jones said, quote, well, I'm not going to close the stadium if you're asking about that at all. But seriously, those hurt. Those really hurt. I hate it. I'm so proud of every fan in every seat. Everybody that's not in a seat watching on television at home, but I hate it.
You know what I gotta say? Clown show alert! Clown show alert!
Yeah, you hate it, but you won't do anything about it. So anyway.
He hates it, all right.
He's
getting paid.
And that was it specifically from the post-game commentary. Jerry obviously spoke more recently on 105 Through the Fan. He was asked, how do you feel about the fact that most fans do believe that you are the biggest problem and that you're the source of all this. He said, that's very fair. How could you think otherwise? I accept that completely.
You're the fucking GM, and he knows it, and he's willing to not fire himself.
Yeah, I'm glad you accept
Clown show.
You're not going to do anything about it. You're just accepting it. Got it. Exactly. Jerry also said, and here, sorry, baby, he does not expect Dalvin Cook to play Thursday night against the Giants.
There you go. So, guys, I didn't even know that. You heard it here first. Dalvin Cook will not be, but he may be getting plucked by the freaking Steelers before we get to this game. So, no Dalvin Cook. At least that's the expectation from Jerry fucking Jones.
I don't want to speculate, but it sounds like, based off some of what he implied around that the short turnaround this week is a partial factor, but I'm sorry.
I mean,
it's been 3 weeks already.
Yeah.
How much more time do you need? He either doesn't have anything going on and we just signed a useless Dalvin Cook to the practice squad, or he's got something and someone else is sure going to freaking exploit that.
The way I see this with Dalvin Cook, just real quick, is that Dalvin Cook's going to tell his buddies around the league. He's got friends around the league. He knows people. He's going to say, listen, I want to get out of Dallas. Does your team need maybe throwing a word about me getting off this practice squad? Watch.
Yep. So, Jerry Jones. Oh, I almost forgot about this. Jerry Jones was asked about that video that obviously went viral.
Yes, we have the short out there, by the way.
A year or two or something like that.
Jamie
Foxx.
The measurements of players, so to speak.
So, Jerry said he's a great friend, as in Jamie Foxx. We've had a lot of experience watching players, talking about games. It's just kind of ironic, I think, when that was supposed to have happened a few years back, but I don't recall it.
First of all, Jerry, you're old. Second of all, you're a clown show, motherfucker.
Third of all, how often are you talking about dicks that you can't recall, Jerry?
Yeah, it sounds like the clown show was making a joke in passing, and it didn't go. It doesn't seem to. It doesn't fit into Jamie Foxx's repertoire of jokes.
Jerry
much,
wants to
much
hit him
better.
with that Gluck 3000.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
shit.
So that was it though from Jerry Jones. So we can at least.
Thank goodness, no more clown show, right?
Nope.
Or is there more clown show?
No, Jerry. That's it from Jerry and Steven.
Okay.
The rest of the clownery is just good old fashioned cowboy garden variety.
Yeah, you go.
So Mike McCarthy, by the way, he was visibly upset.
Should be.
I would hope. And he said this because he said what needed to be said has been said. Okay, so of course they asked what needed to be said. McCarthy said, "I'm not going to get into specifics. This isn't show and tell. It's about being accountable. We didn't have a whole lot of time to spend on corrections. We did that at the beginning part of it, and then we had to move right on to the Giants. We've got work to do."
Hold on. Did he say the word we have to be accountable? Clown show. They're not accountable. I hope you can do it, McCarthy. You had 5 years.
You see, this is kind of my fear here, though, because McCarthy basically confirmed what we already worried about and knew about. No, just about this short week. We won't be able to get into everything from that loss because we have to spend time preparing for the Giants. Right. So
it fits.
So it
works out for Jerry.
Unfortunately,
for Mike McCarthy on a short week.
Unfortunately, but it's I don't know. He also, this is the least forthcoming he's been during a press conference. No surprise there.
Yeah, he's had it up there. He knows he's about to be, let out of this building after this year at the latest.
Shit, at this point, he wants out. He's banging on the cage doors.
No, he might be let out middle of the year. I don't know.
So, Dak Prescott, by the way, so he usually would do a media appearance today because we did have other players speak. He did not. Ooh. He actually told, I believe it was either Patrick Walker, John Machado, one of the Cowboy reporters there in the building, basically said, no, I'm just going to speak after the game Thursday like I normally would for a normal media
Thursday is, I guess the game is, the Thursday is going to be after the game. He'll speak after the Thursday night game. But Thursday, usually after practice, is when Dak speaks. So today was Dak's turn, and he did not speak. He was very upset after the game. When he was walking off the field, I don't know if you guys remember, if you've seen the short, I don't know if you have this, maybe, but he said, just jump off then. Just get off. Just basically get off the bandwagon kind of deal. And he was like, just please get off the bandwagon. Just get off. So it was like he was talking to himself. It was caught on camera. Again, you usually don't see him that kind of angry, but I'm glad to see that little bit of anger coming from Dak. It's about time. He's too happy. He needs to be a little more angry, and get a little more focused.
I'm sorry. My heart is definitely with Jordan Lewis, though, because no one on that team is more pissed off when shit like this happens than Jordan Lewis. We'll hear from him in a little bit, but all that to say that Dak Prescott didn't speak today, but he did speak a little bit after the game. Saying we've got to help our defense. I know their standard, and they don't want to allow 28 points, but 28 points against an MVP player, an offense like that, that's a game that we have to score 30 in. We know it. We didn't do it. Us as in players, we've got to be more professional, understand our jobs, understand where we're supposed to be, and do that time and time again and keep our focus.
You hear that? More professional. He's talking about this guy right here. CeeDee Lamb.
So, wonderful. Because CeeDee Lamb spoke. And he actually didn't speak after the game. He spoke today. Yeah. He was one of the players who had his media time. He said that he was disappointed in how he handled himself during Sunday's loss, saying, I know that's not the player I am. I know that's not the teammate I am. It was a bad game on my end. I fully take accountability in that. I will be better in the future, and it's going to be fine.
We'll see.
So, and he doubled down on the accountability aspect here, just saying that his emotions got the better of him. And as far as his relationship and connection with Dak Prescott, because if you guys noticed, him and Dak were also getting into it a little
Zach
bit,
Martin
but it
was
wasn't
there too,
like Dak getting into it, was CeeDee Lamb
Right.
on one. And like you said, Dak and Zach were trying to like, hey, like,
chill out.
Take it easy, man. Come on. He was not for it. But he said this as far as his relationship with Dak, saying, quote, "We understand the urgency, and that's between us. We talk about it every day, every night, and if anything, our relationship has gotten stronger. Don't let what's out there fool you. We're brothers to the end, and we know we're all we've got." I tip my hat off to him.
There you go.
I have that much respect for him. I look at him as a brother. With that said, everything is going to come out. The energy, the passion, the love, the fight, and we'll make up in the end. There's no craziness.
That's good to hear, at least.
So, CeeDee Lamb, again, went into the accountability factor there again,
We need
saying,
to hear it.
I expect a lot out of myself, more than anyone could put on me. And quite honestly, I failed myself. And obviously, I failed the team just as far as producing and being that game breaker. I kind of let the game get to my head a little bit. Honestly, I've got to be truthful to myself. I played a part in that loss, a big part, honestly. And neither my body language nor attitude helped change the outcome of the game.
Yep. He didn't help the team by doing what he did. So if you ain't helping them with your energy and your passion, you're probably not doing the right thing.
So,
Hopefully he learned this time it won't happen. Because he did this against the Niners last year.
Yeah.
He was pouting on the field like a little bitch. So,
one thing I'm going to remind everyone, though, so as much as he says him and Dak are cool and we're brothers and stuff, I'm not even denying it. I do think it's true.
but
Do you guys remember that little bit of time during the off season where some of CeeDee Lamb's family members were shit-talking Dak
that's
on
true.
social media?
That is true. That is true. His mother shit talked that.
So,
during
I
the
just
Packer
wanted
playoff
to-
game, yeah.
I just wanted to leave that there.
But to me, it's more like I would have shit talked. You know, Dak's mother should have Dak's father should have shit talked CeeDee Lamb because
I'm
CeeDee
sure
Lamb.
Dak's mom is shit-talking from somewhere high up in the sky.
But the point is that someone should have shit talked on Dak's side. His brother, his father should have shit talked CD for fucking being a zombie for the first half.
I know. The thing
of that
is
Packer
that
game.
Dak's more outspoken brother is the brother who passed.
Yeah, I know.
So
Oh, Tad's outspoken on
he's
Twitter.
outspoken as well. So anyway, that's it from CeeDee Lamb. I have to personally say, out of all the player comments, that comment there by CeeDee Lamb actually taking accountability, and then Jordan Lewis.
Well,
I
Jordan
really,
Lewis,
and we haven't gotten to it yet. I'm just saying that in general, like, they were the two players that I feel like spoke to me the most, just because they.
Well, do you want to do Jordan Lewis next, or?
Well, no, I have.
Oh, more CD. Oh.
No, that's it for CeeDee.
Oh,
I
okay.
said that.
CD's done. Okay. I'm sorry.
So, no, I'm just saying that last comment there by him, basically
Yeah.
just saying, like, you know, I take full accountability and
Right.
all that.
Well, we need that's the thing that's missing in this team is accountability.
And other players said, like, oh, I take full responsibility, but it didn't feel as real.
As when CD said it.
I personally, but of course that's just my opinion. So Tank, by the way, very, very upset, very frustrated. You can see it in his body language and the way he said it, but he said, we've got the guys to do it, so that ain't the problem. It's just all about fucking doing it. We'll get it done. Once we get out of playing Little League football and get back to playing pro football, we'll be all right.
Just every time I hear him, and I hear he always has to let out a curse word fly to sound like he's like really upset. I know he's upset, but he's the actor on the team for me. He's the guy that doesn't provide. I don't feel the genuineness. In him.
Actually, I'm gonna disagree with you there.
On this time, maybe he did. But
I used to think that Tank was a lot of talk and not so much action. I'm sorry, Tank is standing on business. So to speak.
I'm gonna say this.
Like, I'm not saying that he's had the most perfect performances, but
Yeah.
he gives maximum effort every single time he's out there.
I'm gonna say that while I agree with you on that, 100%, there was obviously some kind of disagreement between him and Micah. And,
yeah, because Micah's given up on half the fucking plays.
I disagree with you on that. I think Micah is frustrated that no one's doing their job on the second level, and that means Overshown was not covering Lamar Jackson every time. That was not on Micah. And people want to blame Micah. People don't know football.
No.
They got to know that there was another person supposed to be covering that side, and he kept leaving that side open because his help was never there. That's not Micah's fault. So Micah's frustrated. It wasn't DeMarcus Lawrence's fault, but they got into it. And I don't know what it was about, what the original thing was started into it. It wasn't because they're both doing their jobs, but maybe DeMarcus Lawrence said something to him. Maybe Micah said something to him. Either way, they're both giving their best. It's just that you can't overcome the scheme being broken or a team just fucking bludgeoning you to death, like Derrick Henry ran on us and the fucking Ravens threw 17 times only against us. That's a great scheme, and they fucking tore us apart. And the defense, lost their heads a bit, and they got to get their shit back. They got to get it back together. Hopefully, DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah and the rest of the defense and Zimmer get their heads out their ass and get on the same page with this scheme. Because if not, it's going to be a very long season.
So, Trayvon Diggs also had one singular little comment here. He is also one of the players that took full accountability for his portion of the blame pie here, saying, quote, "That was shitty on my part. I've got to make that play. Regardless of what it is, I'm supposed to show up, when it's time."
He's talking about the play where he's trying to knock that. He's trying to knock the ball out of that 3rd down 6 play where we got to try to get the ball back at the end, and he was just a hair late. That was, he tried to punch the ball out. The guy had made a good catch and held it in there. So that's what that's the play he's talking about. But he was a second late, and that cost us. That didn't cost us the game. That ended the game.
Mm-hmm. And Trayvon Diggs is actually not of the mindset that the Cowboys should have necessarily won that game there towards the end, because he said we should have been like that for 4 quarters. We're not supposed to wait till the 4th quarter, 9 minutes in the game to turn it on. So basically, because we waited until 9 minutes until the 4th quarter were left to turn it on. Of course, we ended up in the position where we couldn't score all the way in the end the way we needed to, because that's what we should have been doing the first 3 quarters.
What he's also trying to say is that trying to punch the ball out there in that 3rd down and 6 play wouldn't have mattered as much if they had done their job the whole game. That play wouldn't be so important.
Yeah.
It's important, but it wouldn't be the game saver.
And remember, the only defensive stops that were made with any serious significance did happen when the offense was on their little attempted comeback streak, because we did get 2 solid defensive stops out of that.
Yeah. And the Ravens are not...
The first defensive stop earlier in that game where the Ravens punted was more Ravens making mistakes than it was any defense.
But the thing is that you got to remember that. I just want to make sure everyone knows. For the Cowboys playing against the Ravens defense, there was a lot of disguising and press coverage against the Cowboys receivers in the 4th quarter. I'm talking about the whole 4th quarter. So it's not like they let them... It was not garbage yards or allowed... It didn't just turn it on because, they played prevent. That was never the case with Baltimore. They actually were playing the same way they played the entire game in the 4th quarter, the same way. The Cowboys on offense allowed Dak. McCarthy allowed Dak to get in the flow into a quicker huddle, which I wish the Cowboys would do more often in the earlier parts of the game, like in the first half. We do that a couple of times. I always said this, do that. You will keep the defense on their heels. You get the points you need first, and you get the defense now that can pin the ears back and attack a little bit more. Less runs against you equals less rushing yards against you. That's what's going to happen naturally if you're winning by 14 or 10 points in the 2nd quarter. So that's my concept of thinking on this. I don't know why the Cowboys can't figure it out still. We get the ball first and go 3 and out. Wonderful. Good job. Great energy there, fuckers. That's the problem. They got the Jason Garrett mindset still in this fucking team. And it really is the Jerry Jones mindset is what it really comes down to. Anyway, I'll shut up. I just got to talk about the Giants game after this. You finish it off.
No, perfect timing here is I'm on my last commentary, Jordan Lewis. So apparently, and I know you touched on this already, but several players mentioned that they had really shitty practices all week, and that they were frustrated that they haven't played as well.
Right.
So obviously the way we practice is reflecting in the way that we play games. Jordan Lewis said that we've got to be detailed several times. Like, he reiterated that comment. So it sounds like that's maybe one of the big factors in having shitty practices. They're not focusing on those details.
That's a problem.
Just extrapolating.
And I want to say, is that a problem? I mean, it could be is every single player not paying attention, or is it the coaching? That's the scary part.
It sounds like a combination. But Jordan Lewis said, quote, "At the end of the day, this shit is about stopping people. We've got to be credible and fucking accountable every single play. That's 60 minutes of football. It doesn't matter who we play. We've got to go out there and be detailed in the plays. No matter who we play in this NFL, if we're not doing that, shit, anybody can beat us.
And everybody will beat us."
Do you understand why what Jordan Lewis said was some of my favorite post-game commentary here?
Passion and
realness.
Not
just that, but if you watch him too on the side, like he wasn't he one of the players that was like crying, sobbing, breaking down after that Green Bay loss, right?
I'm not. I think it was him or Curse. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I feel like I know, but I feel like Jordan
Kurtz gave
Lewis
his
has
heart to
been
the
one
team.
of those most consistently passionate guys. So adding in there, doesn't matter who we play. We've got to be out there and be detailed in the plays. It don't matter who we play. This is the NFL. If we're not doing that shit, anyone can beat us. We're not detailed in our work, and you can take advantage of details. That's how you win in this league. Everybody's good in this league. It's the details that make you different. You can't be detailed if you don't go to work every day and act like it. You have to practice how you play. You have to practice every day like it's your last day. It's Thursday, Sunday, Monday. You're about to play a game, and until we do that, it's going to be the same old thing. And again, to me, that statement is more impactful because Jordan Lewis absolutely was staring down the barrel of having to retire much sooner than he would have wanted to.
Yeah, I agree. And look, I understand.
So practicing like every day is your last day.
The details to me is interesting because you expect someone like Zimmer to be into the details, and I'm sure he is. Maybe the players aren't learning it as quick as we thought. I also think, where's our analytics team? They're the ones supposed to give us the details. Are we not implementing it properly? What's going on? We can't figure out that the Raiders beat the Ravens by doing 33 out of their 43 pass plays by getting a guy in motion. So you know if they're playing zone or they're playing man. That's why you do that. That's the basic reason why you do that.
Are we not reviewing tape?
You tell the quarterback what you're doing when you go in motion on passing plays. When you look at the Cowboys, we did it 15 times out of 55. We were forced to pass, all right, but we still didn't do the motion. That's the point. That's insane. They did it 12 out of 17 pass plays. Motion, the Ravens. And what do you think the Saints did too? They did it 78%, 77% of the time. They did motion on their passing plays. We're the only idiots that don't do that. This is on McCarthy. This is on McCarthy and Schottenheimer by proxy. So,
I actually did forget that I had Michael Parsons. Okay. But he is officially the last person. So, post-game, he was asked, like, hey, what the hell happened? He said, same thing. Right now, we have people trying to be Superman. People just got to own their jobs. We don't need any Supermans. We just need 11 guys playing together.
Yeah, Mike.
Do you think that comment is a little more interesting now when you think about the whole him and Tank maybe going back at it? Like, is that...
Well, maybe, but I know that Mike McCarthy was asked about that comment. I don't think you have that quote, but McCarthy was asked about what do you think the comments about after the game about hero ball and things like that, like Superman, hero ball. He's like, listen, when you lose a game like that and you have those issues happen, people are going to, of course, say things out of emotion, but we address that afterwards and we're good now. And then they wanted to know what he said, and he said no. So anyways, the point is, Micah said a couple of things there, and then he said some things on the podcast.
Yeah, so the final things that he said, he was asked, if he thinks that everyone got the message about, being professional and sticking to the details, all that stuff. He said, everyone says it, but then again, we have to see what happens Thursday. So
we need action.
He was asked too, how is this message being received in the locker room? He said it's very hard to tell because everyone's nodding their head like, yeah, we all agree, but at the same time, it's not showing out on the field. I feel like as a competitor at some point, you've got to be prideful enough to say, I'm not going to allow this to happen to me. I just feel like some people are just allowing them to keep getting smacked in the face. What are you going to do to stand up?
He's calling out some of his teammates, and they know who they are.
Exactly.
We don't know. We don't have to know who they are.
Now, the media did ask him, have you spoken with any individual players that you think might need to elevate their play? They're fishing for names. Mike, of course, does not give it to him. He said, I just feel like I'm not there yet to go to someone because it's hard to just blame one particular person for one thing. I don't think that's right.
All right, well, there you go. And I think that might be, all this stuff might be having to do with Marcus Lawrence.
I was just about to say that if he doesn't feel comfortable approaching players saying, hey, you fucked up here, that leadership
that's not a leader.
That's
not a leader. So, as we go into this game, and Micah's got to be his Micah self. He's dominant against the Giants. But now we're playing, again, these are the New York, as we like to call them here, right? And you have your emojis. Why don't you guys drop them if it's hot, if you got them. But, yes, when we talk about this, we say the New York Vagiants are our next team. A division rival, of course, a hated division rival. Let me actually pull it up. Let me make the vagina bigger. There you go. So, I just made it a bigger vagina.
I'm
Vagiant.
Good for you.
There you go. I'm sorry, Vagiant. Anyways, the Cowboys have won 9 out of the last 10 meetings against the Vagiants. And by the way, the one we lost was when DAK was not there.
Yeah.
But Dak has won 12 out of the last 12 out of 14 matchups against the Giants, and he's won the last 12 in a row. So that's Dak's record. We have won 9 out of our last 10 against the Giants. The Cowboys, earlier this week, when we talked to you guys about us coming out as 6.5-point favorites. When our game ended and the Giants game ended, we were only 4.5-point favorites for our Thursday night game against the Giants. But as of this afternoon, it has moved to a 5.5-point favorite for the Cowboys. So it looks like people are betting on the Cowboys immensely with the 4.5. So they're Vegas is pushing it up based on betting. Either way, this is the first time. This is a crazy stat. This is the first time the Cowboys are playing a road game on 3 days of rest or fewer.
Oh.
Yeah, first time ever.
Wow. That's a little, wow.
Every other time the Cowboys have played on a Thursday after a Sunday game, it's been at home. So, yeah.
Oh, maybe, I'm guessing a big part of that, too, has to do with our Thanksgiving kind of lockdown schedule, but also when you account for all the other random Thursday night games, that's wild.
So, every other NFL team has played at least 6 road games on short rest. This is our first one. So, yeah, now, I do want to say something about this Giants game on Thursday night on Amazon Prime. If you don't have it, you can watch it here with us. Not the game, but we can tell you exactly what's going down. So make sure you tune in for this game with the wife and I on camera. Thursday night, we're going to be here earlier telling you the keys to victory and matchups to watch. Of course, captains and mainly, of course, who's inactive, which we're going to talk about the injuries here in a minute. But there's going to be potential rain again. Remember last year when we played the Giants, week 3, week 4, 2 years ago. Played on week 4, I think, week 3. It rained that game. And again, for this week 4 battle, potential rain for the Giants and Cowboys game. So what happened at practice today? Dipping the footballs into water. We're doing that there. Yeah, so tight ends coach, Lunda Wells, was throwing wet footballs to tight ends. There's multiple pictures of Ferguson and others catching the waterlogged footballs. Mm-hmm. So something they have to get used to if it does get heavy rain there. Now, on the football field, DaRon Bland. Shout him out real quick because he is definitely making progress in recovery from that foot surgery. And his 21-day practice window right now can be activated by next week at the earliest. Yeah. So if he's active, and right now he's on the field, guys, doing the resistance cords work and stuff like this on the field. So right now he could be activated by next week at the earliest. And then, that's the 21-day practice window means he has to be back within 3 weeks of them making him, activating him basically. So again, it will be. If you look at the stats, if you look at our standings, basically it will be going into the mini bye we have here with Pittsburgh. So after the Giant game, we can then kind of activate the 21-day window, and he may be ready to go for the Pittsburgh game. Outside chance DaRon Bland plays against the Steelers. That's our following game after the Giants. That's 10 days after this game. That would be not this upcoming Sunday, but next Sunday, week 5. So something to kind of watch for that Steelers game. You might get bonus DaRon Bland. Maybe that's his first game back. If not that, it'll probably be against the Lions the following week in Dallas. Now, Dak Prescott, as you said, baby, did not speak with the reporters today. And it wasn't that he was upset about anything. I think you made that clear. Yeah. It's not that he's mad. It's a short week, quick turnaround, less time to get the body right is what I'm hearing. But, again, really can't remember a time when he didn't speak before before a game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
which
like
is the
on
first
one
time.
hand, it does.
It's weird.
It's a little bit of, are you running away? But on the other hand, I'm much more happy. Like, yes, please, focus on the football. Focus on literally anything but talking to the media. Because I need you to actually play some fucking football on Thursday.
Yes. So, injury report for the Cowboys here. And then we're on the second day of injury. I'm going to be kind of quick on this because it's good news on both teams because it is such a quick turnaround. Everything kind of stays the same. So, it's important we come off good here. So, look, coming off this first 2 days of practice, Mozzie Smith with a back issue. John Stevens with a hamstring issue. CeeDee Lamb with an ankle issue. Trayvon Diggs with a foot issue. All 4 guys, full practices both days back to back. So no worries about their injuries. These are basically rest days, veteran rest days. So both days, not rest days. They're just on the list for just little bumps and bruises. But they're not getting they're getting full workouts. Now, remember, guys, Monday was a walkthrough. The Cowboys didn't have a practice. It was a walkthrough. So those are estimates right there for those 4 guys. But today they had a regular practice. Full participation for all those guys. CeeDee Lamb, Trayvon Diggs, Mozzie Smith, and John Stevens. Good. They're good to go for this game unless there's any kind of injury that happens in practice tomorrow. Knock on wood, it does not happen. Then you had some limited participation from DeMarcus Lawrence. He was the only guy that was a little banged up with the shoulder issue. He was limited yesterday. He was limited today. He'll probably be full practice tomorrow and be ready to go for the game on Thursday. So no worries to me. I'm not hearing any worries at all about DeMarcus Lawrence. So those are 5 guys, but there's 2 other guys in our list that did not practice 2 straight days. And they are both defensive backs. Cornerback Kalen Carson and safety Marquise Bell. Kalen Carson has a shoulder injury, did not practice either day. Marquise Bell, safety, ankle injury, did not practice either day. Now, Marquise Bell is our backup safety.
Yeah.
So he does play rotation, though. We saw we saw him out there a number of times. Without question, right? So Marquise Bell, I think 14, right? So Kalen Carson has a shoulder, Marquise Bell the ankle. According to Mike McCarthy, both these guys will be game time decisions. So tomorrow, look for them to be probably limited in practice and then questionable for the game. That's the only 2 guys that are going to be questionable. Starting cornerback, Kalen Carson. And rotational kind of starting safety, Marquise Bell. So these 2 guys are major guys. Both these guys are game time decisions. And according to McCarthy, this I guess good news. You got a starter and a kind of a backup kind of guy. Mm-hmm. McCarthy said that Kalen Carson is closer to getting back than Marquise Bell at this juncture.
Okay.
So
which again,
we have enough. We
can
safeties.
Probably afford to maybe not have Marquise Bell. But I don't know if we can afford to not have Kalen Carson.
Well, the fact that we already don't have Deron Bland, right? Now we're down to Kalen Carson, right?
Like,
yeah,
that's even more important.
And when you got now, if you lose Kalen Carson, what's the options? That's the one we have to talk about real quick because here's the thing, guys. You're not gonna hear me tomorrow. Tomorrow we're off from here, but we're gonna be, of course, here Thursday for the game and the pregame discussions. But here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen if Kalen Carson cannot play, and they're both gonna be game time decisions. If Kalen Carson, number 21, the rookie, cannot play, look for number 25, Andrew Booth. From formerly of the Vikings, we traded away, what's his name? Nashawn Wright, who was cut by the Vikings, by the way. But we got Andrew Booth. And he will have to have, he's our 5th string cornerback. He's our 5th cornerback on the depth chart here. And so he has to now start for Kalen Carson if Carson misses the game on Thursday. So he will have an opportunity, a big opportunity against the Giants and their receiving core. Again, we know we're going to talk about a guy, Malik Neighbors, who had a huge game for the Giants this season, really. But he had a huge game this last game against the Browns. I'm going to just reiterate that Andrew Booth Jr., who was acquired via trade against from the Vikings during training camp, he has quickly adjusted, and he according to the word, he is very eager. Yeah. Well, according to these are basically reporters that are talking to him kind of off the record. They're saying he is very eager for that first shot, that first chance in Dallas to get out on that field and play. He may get that chance against the Giants. They have a good receiving core. The thing they don't have is a great offensive line. If we get pressure, then anybody could look good out there with the right scheme, and if we get pressure on the quarterback. So what do we do if they're the Cowboys? I said Andrew Booth is one of those options, right? Andrew Booth active in the sense of, he is now your starter. You elevate a practice squad cornerback for more added depth. So you might see one of those call-ups. Not going to be Dalvin Cook, it sounds like, but an elevated practice squad guy. Sounds like it could be one of those cornerbacks we have on our practice squad. I will say one other option for the Cowboys. I know some of Mr. Israel Mukwamu's family may be listening, but I think this is a good move for the Cowboys with Mukwamu playing some of that nickel defense, playing nickel cornerback, which is what he's listed as the backup there for the Cowboys. My only worry is Jordan Lewis on the outside. That would force Jordan Lewis on the outside. That would be an issue because he's not really the best outside guy. He's a bit shorter. So unless he matches up well with the Giant receivers as an outside corner, that's not his thing. He's a top 10 or 11 cornerback right now in the NFL, Jordan Lewis, overall in the NFL graded wise. So, and not even in the slot, just overall, but he's got his numbers in the slot. That's the thing. Mukuamu could play the slot. I have no fear there. It's the outside move to Jordan Lewis that makes me scared. So, those are the options. I think that what would probably happen is Andrew Booth plays the outside and Jordan Lewis stays as a slot. Although I think Mukuamu can then maybe get a couple extra snaps with the rotation there, maybe as the Marquise Bell replacement. Mukuamu, I think number 24, can do well there as well. So look for Mukuamu to be a big name, kind of stepping in there for the safety, Marquise Bell, and if need be for the cornerback spot there. But I think the bigger name is Andrew Booth starting if there's no Kalen Carson. Is probably the way it goes for the Cowboys. Not fun when you're going against the Giants and their receiving core. But what about the Giants' injuries? The Giants had back-to-back walkthroughs. And they had a couple of guys that are full practice. Jermaine Elamure, offensive tackle with a thumb, so he's good to go. And offensive lineman John Michael Schmitz with the neck. Both these guys I think they're starters. I know Schmitz is at center. They're both good, though. They're kind of giving that CeeDee Lamb kind of Trayvon Diggs, you're full practice, but we got to put you on for a bump and a bruise. Limited at practice. Darius Slayton, receiver with a thumb injury. Inside linebacker Micah McFadden with a back injury. Cornerback Nick McLeod with the knee. And Dexter Lawrence, a big player for them, defensive lineman with the foot injury. They were limited. We have to wait to how their practices kind of go the rest of the week. But the two guys you got to really look at here, cornerbacks for the Giants. We have our problems at cornerback and defensive back, but so do the Giants. Adoree Jackson has a calf injury. And Drew Phillips has a calf injury. Both guys are cornerbacks. Both guys did not practice both days.
Ouch.
So that's a big thing there. But and there was no changes. Everybody was on the same, like our injury report. It was the same for the Giants. But the thing I'm hearing, it's not looking good for cornerback Drew Phillips with the calf injury or Adoree Jackson with the calf. These are two starters at cornerback for the game on Thursday. So, again, here's the thing. The thing is that even though Brian Dable said that neither of them were going to go on IR, that already tells me they're missing this game. If he's saying they're not going IR, it's like that's a good thing. That means they're missing a couple of games, and this one they're missing. So both starting corners are going to be out of this game. And then he said that he hopes that cornerback Nick McLeod, who is also limited with a knee injury and missed the last two games with the knee injury, will be back for Thursday. He said that would be a big boost for them. So McLeod is on the way up, but the other two starters are on the way out. And by the way, I want to reiterate, rookie cornerback Drew Phillips, extremely physical corner, would give the Cowboys and CeeDee Lamb a major issue. He's one of the Giants' best corners, already a rookie. As a rookie, already one of the best corners. Not having him on Thursday night, which is a probability, he's not going to play, it sounds like, is a big help for CeeDee Lamb. In the sense that he's going to be in the slot. He won't be able to they won't have as many physical cornerbacks, and a lot of them are injured. But Drew Phillips with the calf, who's not going to play, it looks like, neither is Adoree Jackson. Both guys will not be able to help contain CeeDee Lamb, who must rebound from this horrific performance he had. And just to kind of just give us a little bulletin board material, guys. Jason Pinnock gave an analogy when talking about the Giants needing to beat the Dallas Cowboys. He said, quote, "My big brother beat on me for 12 years, but that 13th year, I'm going to bust your ass." Nah. Now, what does that tell you? That tells me he's talking shit about whenever DAK plays, they beat the Giants 12 years in a row. 12 years in a row. The 13th year, will it be the 13th time in a row? According to Jason Pinnock, he said, no, we're going to beat your ass. He said, quote, "I'm going to bust your ass." So, I don't know. But that's what he's saying. The Giants, as far as our offense is concerned against their D, here's the quick preview. The Giants have blitzed on 43% of passing plays this season. That's the second highest rate. The Cowboys must be prepared for the Giants' blitz. DAK is one of the best quarterbacks against the blitz. This year, DAK against the blitz could be better, guys. 13 for 29. That's under 50% completion percentage. For 229 yards and 3 now the 3 touchdowns, DAK will kill you when you blitz him on touchdowns. But yards and completions, we might have a little issue. Third downs, the blitz Dak could be an issue. So Giants are going to blitz 44%. Almost half of the game they're going to blitz. Dak has to be ready for that. The scheme has to be ready for this on offense. The Cowboys on offense have used 8 different offensive personnel groupings this year. 21 personnel, 22 personnel, 13 personnel, 12 personnel, 11. We used 8 different personnels on offense this year. Second most in the NFL. The only team that's done more offensive personnel changes and looks, the New York Giants. Yeah. They lead the league with 9 different groupings. So if our defense is having trouble reading shit, they make it a little bit more difficult with now having another different, more different groupings to look at on the field at once. Now, Tyler Guyton on our offensive line is going to help hopefully protect Dak Prescott this week because the Giants have a good defensive line, and we're going to see how real or not he is this week against the Giants. Guyton has allowed 8 pressures and 3 sacks in his first 3 starts. Remember, the first week he had like 1 pressure, I think. We allowed 1 sack, I think, and like 2 pressures against freaking Myles Garrett. Great job, but then he's kind of shit the bed the last 2 weeks. And he's allowed 8 total pressures, 3 total sacks in 3 weeks. And now we're going up against Kayvon Thibodeau at one edge and Brian Burns. And guys, I'm going to tell you, this is the matchup we're going to talk about. But Brian Burns is their superstar. We know him from Carolina. He was great there. He's now their number 1 guy. And they got Thibodeau, their rookie, top 15 pick on the other side, who's getting better and better. So they're going to be leading the edge attack against the Cowboys. Tyler Guyton has to play well. He must play well. It's going to be tough for him and Steele. They better be playing better. So now, when you look at us on this side of things here, offense, that's a quick little brief look. How about defensively? And I'm going to throw up there maybe not even the leader, but our best defensive player, Micah Parsons. The Cowboys, our opponents, have called run plays against us. League leading 51% of the plays this year. Number 1, I mean, when you look at all 3 weeks and all the teams in the NFL, the team has been called the most run plays against their defense is the Dallas Cowboys defense. And they've called it for 51% of the goddamn time. This is, by the way, just in case you want to know a little context here, it's 11.4% more often than expected, which on that side, it's also the 4th highest in the league. We're just horrible at, like we know it's coming and we still can't stop it. This is what's really scary. The Cowboys have allowed a league high 54.4% success rate against designed runs and plus 24.3 rushing EPA, which is more than triple the next closest team to the Cowboys, which are the Rams at plus 6.1. Guys, we project, we know what's coming. We try to set up what's coming. We cannot stop anything. We're not successful. We are successful. Other teams are successful 55% of the time against us when they do design runs. That means when we know it's coming. It's embarrassing. The Cowboys have allowed the most rushing yards, 184 rushing yards this year. And the Cowboys have allowed the most rushing yards, 184, and the most rushing yards over expectation, plus 85 yards than expected, when we're in a stacked box. Which means, guys, when there's a stacked box, we have extra guys there to stop the run. And they still have outgained us by 85 expected yards, and we have allowed the most yards against stacked boxes. We stacked the box with 8 guys. They still ran for 184 yards against us. That's number 1 in the NFL. Again, what is our problem? Stopping the run. That's the only problem I got to talk about. Pass rushing ain't the big problem. Stopping the run. But if they're going to throw 17 times, then we have to stop the run, or they're going to just run and then throw 10 times and win the game every time. The Cowboy defense has missed 32 tackles. When you stop the run, you got to also tackle. I'm going to leave you with this final statistic. Okay. The Cowboys defense has missed 32 tackles this year in 3 games. I mean, that's over 10 a game. We've missed 14.7% of our tackles, which have resulted in the 3rd most yards lost due to missed tackles. Do you know how many yards we've lost because of missed tackles, baby?
How many?
32 missed tackles. 15% of our missed tackles have resulted In the third most yards lost due to missed tackles, 241 yards because we missed tackles. We've allowed touchdowns off missed tackles. We've allowed first downs on third and longs on missed tackles. But it's insane that we have allowed 241 yards solely on missed tackles in 3 games. That's almost, it's like 75 fucking yards a game we allow on missed tackles. I mean, does this change the game if we make tackles? Does it change the game if our scheme's a little better? If this continues to be worse than Mike Nolan's defense back in 2020. DeMarcus Lawrence, though, currently tied for the most missed tackles this season.
Oh, God.
Not just with the Cowboys. DeMarcus Lawrence has 9 missed tackles, so maybe Micah had a point. You know what I'm saying? Baby, what do you think about all this?
I'm sorry.
I'm just throwing it out there. That's a lot of missed tackles for him.
I know. I'm going to put that one down more to scheme than anything.
All right, fair enough.
Personally, because
for both of them, then it's scheme.
I think it's very out of character that the Tank all of a sudden decided this is the year he's going to fuck around or something. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, when it comes to the preparation, the effort, like, all those types of things, like, so what's the only other factor left, at least for
Zimmer.
Those types of players, like the players that we have already seen good things from.
I mean, unless they're falling off.
Regressed.
Yeah, unless they're
yes,
falling
they could be falling off, but the thing is, if Tank was falling off, we would see it reflected, I think, in a different way. You know, he doesn't look significantly slower. He's not hurt. So
yeah, no, I agree.
It's got to be the scheme. And I'm not trying to say that some of those aren't on him.
Right.
Right? Like, he fucked up, everybody fucked up, okay, fine. But the entire defense looks like they're not even playing the same sport.
We're missing a 10.75 missed tackles per game. Almost 11 tackles missed per game. We're allowing 75 extra yards on the this is on the ground per game. Missed tackles. It's too ugly to talk about. So I'm just going to leave with that, because that's what it's really about in the end. They've caused this culture, and now we're stuck in it, unfortunately. Any last comments in the chat, baby, as we break it off here? And we'll be back here on Thursday night for the game. We'll be live a little earlier so we can talk about some matchups, some things to watch, keys to victory. But outside of that, it's this fucking clown show ruining our football love and our football lives when it comes to our Dallas Cowboys. Unfortunately, these two own the star, but they're not over the star. It's always that star for everything here. So while you do the shout-outs and do some comments with the shout-outs, baby, I'm going to take away this ugly-ass score on the screen.
Please do.
Yeah.
So, Burn Bar, much love. All
Yeah,
good. The good thing is, go ahead and rewatch. We had some
good stuff,
fantastic commentary tonight. I think it's a good way to get the poison out, at least from the fan perspective. So, Matt Batten, much love. Dustin Roberts saying, keep the faith, Cowboy Nation.
We do our best. We've been doing it for 28 fucking years.
Hey, we're not going anywhere, but
yeah, we just have to buy the Jerry Jones, sales pitch.
Exactly. Let me see. Not just kind of rolling back, making sure I can shout out everybody here. Apocalyptic Cowboy. We have Drums and Cowboys. Aztec Aguilar 04. GM. Canna Bros. House Nelson in the house.
In the house.
Let's see. AOD. Kathy Mardis. That's actually technically as far back as I can go. So.
Well, you know what that means, baby. I do have to shout out a couple of people here who gave some love to the channel here. Dropping the love here. We got John Luna, our sponsor of the week and our membership gifting champion. Yes, first time ever for him on that. Gets a bonus raffle for our jersey raffle at the end of the month. Big shout out to John Luna. He also added some love to that tonight and jumped right into first place at the time. And now he's in second place on this overall board for this week, trying to go back to back like our 90s Cowboys. He also took over the stream boss from Mark Hovsepian. He's got 46 points on that stream boss, but he was at 100. Mark Hovsepian with the other man that did the live drops tonight. And he said, hold up. And he's now in first place on the over. They switched sides. He jumped out of the stream boss, and John Luna jumped in. And John Luna, who was in the lead, jumped into second place as Mark Hovsepian rockets to first place on the overall board. So we'll see who wins those things later on this week, and Thursday, and we'll have a special weekend edition with a special guest, I think. So get ready for that this weekend. Even though there's no game, we'll still have a stream. So that'll be a total of 3. We're trying to get 3 a weekend. And also, I want to give a big shout out to the Cash App King, back to back like our 90s Cowboys, JetLi44. Much love to him. Appreciate you and what you do for the channel for as long as you have been here doing your thing. But there is currently this week no leader there, and there is no leader in the gifting membership board. So we'll see how that progresses on game day Thursday night for some Cowboys divisional rival football against the New York Giants.
That's right.
On that note, I think you cleared the chat. I think I also want to shout out JetLi44 for his star level membership there. Justin Quarles for the silver level membership. NDN boogieing into that navy blue crew along with William Burney and JD from DC. So thank you all for that. But on that note, it is time to close it out for the night and come back here game day, kicking it off on Thursday for a little earlier, a little bit of a preview, a little bit of a breakdown for you guys, some things to watch and keys to victory. But until then, baby, why do we do this each and every night here on My Cowboys Family?
It's that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything.
Win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly here, we always rep that star over everything. And here on this channel, 8 seasons doing this, but over 7 years on YouTube. Woo, man, it's been a ride. It still continues. Even if this is right now, it's a low ride. But either way, guys, here on My Cowboys Family, never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever, as always. Say it with us, say it loud, no matter what, say it proud. As always, go Cowboys. Let's find a way to get that 6 and beyond. Thank you all for dropping the knowledge in the chat all night long, all night. And the drops of love from above. Can't do this without your guys' love and support. On that note, it is time to call it a night and clock out and drop out for tonight. We'll be back on game day, so join us for that. And baby, before we can officially come back and drop out for the night, tell them what we got to do.
We got to drop the beat.
Oh, yeah. Beat has fully been dropped. It's a wrap here, My Cowboys Family. You may be seeing us after dark tonight. I might go live. It's been later than I thought, and I'm kind of tired. But if I go live, you'll see me. You got to subscribe. Hit that notification bell over there. But make sure you do it here, too. And, hey, thank you guys for stopping in and stopping by, hitting that like and all that good stuff. And you can be anywhere you want. You're listening to the news, info, and updates on our Dallas Cowboys right here on MCF for another Cowboys chat, baby. You know it. And we had the recap, a quick preview. We talked about the Ravens and the Giants, and about our own problems on this team on defense with DAK and CEEDEE and Jerry always just making issues. We talked about it all here and beyond. So, hey, thank you guys for rocking it with us here for another chat about our Cowboys here in MCF, where it's always about that navy blue, that silver too. No, that's always that star of everything. And never forget the number one thing right here, My Cowboys Family. You guys in the house, thank you all. We can't do this without you guys hitting that like button for the stream, hit subscribe for the channel, hitting that notification bell so you know we're going live. Follow us on Discord. I gotta update that Discord link. We'll repost that in the description, and of course, get to Twitter at My Cowboys, Twitter X, whatever, at My Cowboys Family. All social media at My Cowboys Family. You want to follow us there as well. Let you know we're going live and other interesting stuff. On that note, guys, stay safe. We'll see you for the Week 4 Giants Cowboys game here at My Cowboys Family on Thursday night. Have a good one. Stay safe. Peace out. And never, ever forget, go Cowboys!
Monk on the beat.